Hello, everyone. We should now be live. Welcome. Today, we will be discussing the new units that came out in this event, Summer Pool Twilight. Joining me today are my usual pals here, Irby.
Hello.
Milk.
Hello.
And Zagas.
Hello.
Okay, so I'm kind of angry at Irby because we had to do some very last second ordering changes was he's talking at what time, and he only let me know that he had to leave in an hour. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, let's just hop right into it. Today we will be starting with the AR that released in the previous campaign. So not actually campaign or something that happened during this event, but still important to talk about. Anyway, expect us to be at the end of the discussion now, by the way. So, we will be talking, first off, of the Genocider's AR, which allows you to now have a boosted Blossom drop rate whenever you bring this, either on support or in yourself, so you can actually bring two of these to increase the drop rate of Blossoms by up to 20%. It also has a very non-intrusive and also generally not useful effect of healing as you leave your allies that are within a 3 square diamond range of the unit equipping this AR. So, the significance of this is that you can grind without any effects going off, I guess, if you bring this AR, if you happen to be able to do that. But you may also decide to use this AR, for example, if you're working with departure strategies with people leaving. So let me just pull out my notes now. Yeah, I would recommend you bring this AR on. Obviously, anyone who has Blossom Quest utility. So not Flame Lord 69, but unless you're Irby who prefers to go as fast as possible without any help from support. AKA, I suppose you could bring it on some mob that literally does nothing so that you can speed up your quests if you have the right setup anyways. And you could also bring Kasuga and Valentine Arc would be my actual recommendations for units that does something. With Valentine Arc giving outright utility just for existing prior to everyone on arrival, as well as Kasuga, who is just known as our staple board wiper. And besides that, I would also recommend this AR outside of Blossom quests if you're playing with departure strategies that don't involve them leaving and then healing or providing healing or guts, because this AR already does that to help them revive them. So some other units that are designed to depart would be Baron, who bestows Vigor when he departs, Alchemist, who bestows Glint, although I'm not sure how much you'll need that on departure. Trooper, who bestows Paralysis. Fashionista Matsumara is probably one of the better ones, who bestows both defense up and nullify debuff. There's also Kasuga, who applies a flat damage to the enemies as well as burn to them. And most notably, probably the case if you're going to be playing around this strategy, you may want to consider bringing Halloween Police Toji, who inflicts double lock to the entire board when he departs. So, those would just be my recommendations of units that can actually equip it anyways. Yeah, those are all my thoughts on this AR. Do you guys have anything else to say on that?
Yes, Flame Lord 69 is the best unit to equip this, clearly. That is my input. I think it's kind of a very underwhelming AR, but the fact that it's an on-leaving effect means that it makes the runs go faster, because it doesn't need to load the effect of the AR like the Ellie and Tsukuyomi AR, which you need to wait for the charm to trigger. So that's pretty nice.
Did you mention Fashionista Matsumara?
Yes, that was one of the stronger picks I picked, along with Halloween Toji.
He can equip it. I thought he was like Ether.
Oh, I guess he can't. My bad.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was confused because he's not like a genocide or anything. Yeah. My thoughts on this AR is that it's actually saved me in some like runs of my for the Blossom quest, so I'm actually kind of thankful for the when leaving effect, because it guarantees that only one member dies. Well, or at least like, I don't really know about the guarantee, but it helps prevent your entire team from dying from an outright wipe. And what is it? And the AR's Blossom rate effects do work considering how much I've grinded the Blossom quest. So yeah, you can trust the wiki in this case. That's all I have to say.
You could put on Tessorks if you wanted an even bigger heal, but like Hara said, if you're going for revive strats, then I don't know how much it'll matter, but I guess the option's there.
Yeah, anyways, I guess no one really has too much to say about it, but yeah, reviving
It used to be broken, and then Ara just howled to light wonders.
Hey, at least we got 4 stones, and also, do you really want like tier 1 blossoms clogging your inventory anyways?
Yeah, tier 1 blossoms suck.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're guaranteed in the chapter 13 quest, anyways.
They're guaranteed in it anyways.
Oh, okay.
No, if you have the double ARs, then they're guaranteed.
They're guaranteed, yes.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
pretty high right then.
So,
So,
yes,
yeah,
then-
there is
so
0
basically
loss
the
there.
nerf- yeah. The nerf is only for people grinding chapter 12. So basically you.
I mean, it wasn't really something I cared about because, again, I would have to go back to my inventory constantly just to use those blossoms on a very expensive rate for it, because it's just like blossoms are more expensive to use by a good margin. I would rather just get the tier 3 ones. Anyways, if no one has anything else to say, let me just read out the comments and then we can go on, if that's alright with everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Hello, Prisma, Zavi, Jerbear, Gale, Jello, and everyone else. Sorry. Ready to clap everyone's cheeks with this new trick. No clickbait for it. KHD APK. Yes, I am getting better at my clickbait. I'm very happy you noticed. It's time to shield for Oz. Yes, that is in fact who the title is referring to. If only Harvey was here to fill in for Irby. Well, he seems to have his own, what's called, restrictions when it comes to, or reservations rather, when it comes to joining us. I actually did semi-invite it before. Shaking my head, saving Oz for the end to guarantee my retention time. I see. Yeah, well, I mean, you can blame / thank Irby for that. Good, the AR description now matches the skill. I mean, it still doesn't in the main wiki. This is a description you'll find in the backup wiki, which is pausing it properly, still not properly paused in the main wiki. What about Valentine leaked? Yeah, I mean, this AR would also just benefit from anyone who would, get hit in general, and you don't necessarily want to keep. Like, Valentine leak applies weakness whenever you said so. It's an alright application. Not gonna lie, the 5-star and the banners are meh. So yeah, Oz at the end at the best is very fitting. Alright. Irby masterminded this all this time apparently. Oh, it's still ongoing. But anyways, beautiful AR. Love the art on the AR. OMG, the return of the fencer meta. No. Fencer meta does not exist. The only thing good about the AR is the blossom increase. That is arguably true. Imagine farming flowers. Heck, at this point, yeah, I would rather not farm flowers, even including in the most recent chapter 13 one, which I haven't unlocked. I'd rather just wait for the tier 3 ones. I can see why the AR effect is on leave. I mean, at least it's not intrusive. This AR isn't really good with limit buff if you're going with the one they buff. I mean, limit is good in some strategies, but not others, and this AR is just one of those cases where it's not going to be good with it. But I missed the unit discussion, Satchwet. We haven't even started yet, jeez. This is just the ARs. It's something that happened before this event began. Oh, I thought it was ending. No, calm your tits. That would be a short stream. Anyways, that's the end of the stream. Bye, everyone. Not really. The Fencer meta is tier 0. Hello, what did I miss? You just missed the Genociders AR discussion, but now we'll be moving into the real meat of this discussion, which will be the Summer Pool Twilight units. But let's just go ahead and move on to that. Starting with Jormungandr. You may take it away, Irby. Harvey?
Jormungandr is. You can hear me, right? I'm
Yes.
not lagging. Okay.
Yeah, speaking of, you just took a weird pause.
Your quality is kind of low right now.
Yeah, you
It
kind of
is?
seem far away.
Is it
Okay,
better
yeah,
now?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, well then. Jormungandr is the first unit that has the Walkun status, and this Walkun status is an irremovable buff, which means you can't copy it to anyone or do any crazy shit with whatever units that copy buffs. So it's a slightly weaker version of the existing defensive buffs, but also it stacks with all of them. And he has three defensive buffs: the wall status and the adamantine cannot be refreshed, but his tenacity can in his stationary effect. So this makes him an extremely tanky unit for at least the first 3 turns, and after 5 turns he gets even less tankier, but he still has tenacity to help. He also has guts, which also fits in his role of being a very strong tank. But that it's only phase start, so you can't refresh it outside of other phases. The real cool thing about his role as a tank is that he's not just a tank. He also does other things that tanks don't do often, which is deal significantly high amount of damage. It's not super high damage, but it's significantly high damage on top of being an extremely tanky unit. He has access to Ardor for basically free if he's above 50%, which is most likely to be, at least on the first few turns, since he's not going to take almost any damage. He's going to take 85% reduced damage for the first 3 turns, so that is almost not going to ever get him below 50%. But if he does eventually gets below 50%, he stops getting Ardor and starts getting Limit, which is much better than Ardor at that point, and gives him a significantly higher multiplier to work with from 3 to 4 times versus the 2.4 of his Ardor. He has access to crit as well after buff at 50% rate, which is actually a very high rate for an after buff effect. It's most definitely, almost assuredly, proc on the first turn, since he has access to this wall status, the adamantine status, and also the gut status, and also the Ardor. All of these are going to roll for the crit, so it's pretty high chance, at least for turn 1, and even beyond turn 1, he still has an additional 2 rolls with tenacity and Ardor, so that's pretty high. If he does not proc crit and he has Ardor on, he can deal about 5k damage, give or take. But if he does proc crit, he can reach eventually 20k damage with Ardor. And within the limit range, these values are slightly higher, going from 6k to 8.5k, and without crit, and 25k to 34k, which is decent. It's not super high, but it's going places. Considering how much you need to work to reach these values, it's not super high versus other shot units we got, like Takemi Nakato and stuff like that are basically guaranteed, and here you're actually rolling for crit or relying on limit. But even if the rolls are pretty high, it's still a risk you can take. He on top of all of this, he also has an after buff effect, which is also present on his 3-star. In fact, most of his kit is accessible on his 3 stars, which makes it a pretty decent 3-star as well. he has the after buff effect of giving CP to self and allies that are directly next to him. It's 10 CP when fully skill gemmed, so that's pretty nice. With all of what I said above considered, he's going to be able to give a lot of CP just on turn 1. He can give 50 CP on his own to allies directly adjacent to him, and also 10 CP every 2 turns with Ardor. Not surprising, but something you need to keep in mind is that if you do eventually get him below 50%, he's going to be able to provide even more CP because he's going to replace his Ardor with Limit. So that means he's going to gain an additional chance to proc his after buff CP effect and crit effect every turn instead of every 2 turns like Ardor. That's something to keep in mind. He's also immune to being pushed back and forth. That can be useful, but it can also not be if you're using some kind of strategy where you actually want your units to be pushed around with Boogeyman or something like that. But in most cases, it's a benefit, since you do want him to stay at the front and not be pushed around. The board. He also has a neat extra side effect, which is after buff, he steals CP from enemies. It's not a lot, it's only for 100 whenever he procs it, but if you give him a lot of buffs, he does already have a lot of buffs on his own. He can steal a lot of HP from enemies and gain it from himself. Considering he's a tanky unit, this means he can keep himself alive by stealing the enemy's HP instead of having a direct HP healing effect, which would be more noticeable. Which would be more apparently noticeable on his kit. He does not have a healing effect. He has this HP steal, which is a very big deal if you consider how tanky he actually is. He can drain HP constantly and heal himself to full, back up to full almost instantly. This would also be true with his CS, but unfortunately it's currently bugged on his 5-star, but it is working on his 3-star, which also drains the enemy's HP. So for each enemy he hits on magic range, he's going to be potentially draining 500 HP, and draining means he's going to gain that HP as well and heal himself back up to full. So he's got everything that he practically needs to function as the only movable wall, as he should, because he was meant to be one. But he also has a neat side effects of side usage of being a good column clearer as well, which is a weird mix. He's also in the new Infinity element, which we've already seen some enemies from the Infinity element in Chapter 13, but this is the first time we have a unit that's actually Infinity element. For those who don't know, the Infinity element deals neutral damage to all elements except the other new announced element and all-round element. So the Infinity element deals half damage to the all-round element and deals twice as much damage to the other new element that this is actually the first time we see. It's the Zero element. Since these elements aren't actually in almost any quests that are important for us to actually farm, it's actually redundant. The fact that these elements have a weakness or a strength is pretty redundant, since they're quite rare, at least so far. So you can basically consider Infinity element for now as just another all-round element that is going to hit neutrally for pretty much every other unit that you're going to find. His CS, besides that HP draining effect that isn't working for his 5-star, isn't that impressive. It deals extra damage on every effect that prevents movement. That prevents movement entirely. So it doesn't deal increased damage to craziness or confusion. No, it's just the ones that prevent movement entirely. He doesn't have access to any of these outside oppression, and it's not at a very good rate either. And not on a very good condition. He can oppress the enemies that hit him at a 70% rate after being hit, so that's not going to help a lot. But since he is a tanky unit, he's probably going to be triggering this a lot, since he's going to be in the front, and he's going to charge his CP very fast because of his after buff effect, constantly giving out CP to himself. So this is something to also keep in mind. I'm not going to talk about the push away effect because I don't really think it's relevant at all to his kit, especially since we already have units
Walk on
that do this
Chonka
better. Yeah, it's not important, and it's not something that should be considered when using him. Let's see here. Right. In terms of ARs that I thought that could be useful for him, I thought about the Sothogwa and Hakumen AR. If you're somehow intending to take advantage of all those immobility effects, if you're running a team that is constantly dishing out those debuffs, then you can use this to even further amplify the damage he's going to deal with his CS. And I also picked the Batimin Kagutsuchi AR for column clearing duties, because usually you're going to need evasion piercing when you're column clearing, and that's pretty important. But on top of that, it also gives combo, which is another buff that can trigger all his after buff effects of giving CP and gaining crit and all that. I also considered saying the Hombre Tigre and Tezcatli Poke AR for this, because Taunt would be something that would be very useful on him, but then I noticed it was only 50%, and you're wasting an entire AR slot just for a 50% taunt. I don't think it's actually worth it. And another AR that I thought would be nice was the Gunzo and Kuma AR, because it's going to help him heal when he hits, and it also is going to boost up his CS multiplier. Another one that I thought was also the Crafter's AR that we got for free before this one.
That's
Since he is an extremely tanky unit, he's going to be lasting a lot of turns, and that is the perfect AR for that situation, because it's going to consistently provide him more and more CP as turns pass.
Oh, is
And
that
it
why you were
also-
so what's it called? You were so strict about the whole he should heal thing on his 5-star?
Yes, it's quite important. If you take everything into consideration, the CS healing HP is actually a big deal, since it's going to be reducing the damage a lot. This sort of minor heal that he's going to get of 500 per enemy hit is going to be major, because he's going to be reducing the HP is going to take by so much that is going to practically heal him to full, back up to full, by just using these values. It is working fine on the 3-star, and the 3-star does have most of the most of the stuff that he has on the 5-star, barring the limit part of his kit. So that's and also the crit, because that's a big damage scaling, but most of it does seem to be there. I did not talk about the fact that he gives tenacity to allies on phase start around self, because that's kind of dumb. But it's there, and it is a buff that helps keep the team alive, so it can be neat for setting up the first turn and bringing everyone together.
Doesn't Kushi have something
for
like
better
that before?
position. What?
Didn't Kushi have something like that before Zero?
Yeah, I think he does, and also Agio as well. Maybe I think they have something like this. Something I don't think I mentioned as well is that the fact that he has all these unique and rare defensive buffs without moving means that he pairs up with pretty much almost any defensive unit, so you can stack even more defenses on him, including the most prevalent one, which is protection. There are so many
like
protection
would be done.
and he works well. Yes, that works as well. Even though I don't think it's a good option, because he's probably going to be charging that Goku. It's because he's going to be charging Daikoku back, and then he will have to CS, and he won't be gaining CP for that turn. That's something to consider.
I suppose.
That's mostly because of it.
I mean, Daikoku's in like slash range, right? So you don't have to be directly beside him.
True, but also, yeah, that can happen. And honestly, that is mostly my thoughts on the unit. It's a pretty good CP battery defensive unit, and also column clearer. It's a neat pack of three things. He isn't super good at anyone, or rather he isn't excellent at all three, clearly, but it's a good mix to have. Yes, it's a good mix to have, and it's an extremely versatile unit that can be used in pretty much almost any situations. He also doesn't need to move at all. Everything is pretty much automatic. So,
in fact, obviously, it would be better if he doesn't move for the if stationary effect.
Yeah, for the stationary effect, tenacity. Since that's the only defensive buff he actually has beyond turn 5. Those are my thoughts.
Okay. I think it's a bit of a meme with his charges in terms of all his advanced effects, but he can only apply one of them. And I did think that just a slight HP reduction was kind of really weak until you pointed out that it should be heal. In that context, I suppose that's a lot better since he's supposed to heal a shit ton every single time. To just, in the context of, I mentioned this in a few previous streams, but healing is generally kind of shit by itself, but it proportionally gets stronger the stronger your defense buffs are, which means that it's ridiculously good on Jormungandr, who can reduce defense by reduce damage up to like an incoming 15% only. Besides that, I'd say, I'm surprised you didn't really recommend any specific strategies, but then again, any specific strategies is either gonna be like a general just a tank or something, or something cheesy like taunt stalling, which he could, since Jormungandr could just hold the front line, and then you could have some like a Toggle Plus and Alp being either directly behind him or in the corner opposite, depending on what you want. I'd also say that his push away is actually pretty useful, even if you don't think so. Just in the context of it's paired with depression, so those two combined with each other means that you can just keep on pushing the front line, ideally, if there's not too many units just blocking each other from being pushed. And that will allow you to advance front line and just give you even more breathing space for your other units in the back to really make them a wall and keep everyone else safe. Those are pretty much all my thoughts. I didn't have too much on them, but clearly you did.
He's one of the main reasons that these damn farm quests take so long, because he triggers his CP so much, and he just slows everything down a lot. So if you plan to go fast, you might not want to bring him.
But you want the boost though.
Yes, that's correct. But I will not be placing my Jormungandr in the front for this reason.
Okay. And Yumuk?
He looks really fun to use with Kagu.
Oh my god. Alright.
Also, I think his CP gen is like just ridiculous. I'd use him with Isaac if I was being serious. Because Isaac's CS is pretty hard to get. And it kind of seems fun.
What were the rates in Kagu and Ulaanbaatar again?
Kagu's is 70, and I think Ulan's is also 70.
Alright, so Jormungandr is actually the highest.
Yeah, because I think you need to like get
that coupled with also him just having the more buffs than any of them.
Kagu is 80% as well, I think, but it's only left and right.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, if you use Irby seeded Yorm, who is now SALV 21. I don't know when that happened.
That's today.
Yeah. So yeah, you pretty much get a bunch of CP for free. I also think this HP stealing, like it's just his after buff HP stealing is kind of stupid because it's like shot range. But I don't know. I haven't really like looked into how much you can heal like, with him.
What do you think of the actual flat damage part, Irby? If you mentioned it.
I don't think it's going to matter at all. The HP steal is exactly for that. It's for stealing the HP, not for dealing the damage.
Okay, fair enough.
This is just his own way to. This is just his own form of sustain to keep himself alive because he doesn't have any direct healing effects. So instead of having any actual healing effects like other defensive units have, direct heals or blessings or regenerations or stuff like that, he instead steals that directly from enemies, which is honestly even better in my opinion because those can't be removed and are made directly.
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty good because it's like 400 in shot range, so that's like potentially 1200 for every buff.
There's a lot of healing, potential healing.
Yeah, so I mean like even one buff is just like probably out healing blessing.
Yeah, I suppose in that context it is pretty ridiculous. Healing blessing is like what, 600? So not quite out healing, but he has like 6 buffs to himself, and a few of them are crushable in return. So.
Well, and you only need like 1 to 3 enemies, like 2 or 3 enemies, and you already beat it.
Yeah.
At least if that's how it works, like if you like steal 400 from each enemy, does it make it 1200?
As long as they have 1200, yeah.
Yeah.
If they are 1 HP, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they don't have the HP, then you can't steal it.
I mean, he's gonna be killing them anyway, so it's doubtful that he'll just leave them surviving. Anyway, yeah, he's clearly Irby sees a lot more utility in him. I think he's an overall good unit. Just a very interesting concept of being effectively, literally a wall that he can just throw in there and has no bearing on the rest of his team otherwise. You just like have instead of a 4-man team, you could have a 3-man team plus Jormungandr on the opposite side of the earth doing his own thing. So, a bit funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, if that's everything from you, Milk and Zalgus, then you are free to read out the comments, Irby.
Where did we left off? Did we leave off again? Let's see.
Hello, what did I miss?
Okay. Wait, is that Edgar Senpai? Damn, now Enigma. What?
The Fencer meta is tier 0, and then, hello, what did I miss? So like about 7 messages below the hand-waving emoji.
Yeah, I found it. Wait, is that Edgar Senpai? Damn, now Enigma sucks since he can't copy Wall. I mean, he already sucked. Let's be honest. Enigmas always have sucked. Yes, this is true. Isn't the dragon form of this guy one of the enemy-only units from the Fantastic Boyfriends crossover? I swear it looks so familiar. Yes he is, because he is that dragon. He didn't actually appear in the event. I think he appeared in his dragon form at least.
In the high
he did
difficulty
appear
quest.
on the high difficulty quest, yes.
It was
And,
so bizarre though.
the-
It was like he was featured there, but it was like he did not show up in the event at all. What the heck?
He showed in the event, but only in his human form, for some reason.
For like a split second, and then
And also didn't say anything either.
yeah.
Wall creep real. What do you mean Enigma is trash? Life Wonder is gonna make another polar bear and give him literally nothing. True. Next year. What does Wall does again? It reduces damage by 0.
It's right there on the screen, buddy.
Reduces damage by 30%. Rich is right in front of you to the left. Okay, why am I seeing less when I'm tipsy? You are drunk on Zabania. Wine glass. Joy emoji. Double joy emoji. No wonder I felt that he was charging his CP a lot when I was using him for farming. Yes, he charges a lot, and it's an endless loop of charging. It's basically Jkagu all over again. Yeah, using his 3-star just for the CP battery skills seems like a better alternative and costs less. It is for the CP charging, but you're going to lose out on a lot of damage. Anyways, I like that Jorm has a great proc rate on his skills. Also, you can use his dragon skin, which is totally hotter, absolutely not biased for dragons, I swear. That is false. Yeah, true. Why add more elements? Maybe lore-wise. I don't know. I feel like these new elements are dumb.
No,
There is no reason for
they're
this to
cool.
exist.
You can't say that. They're cool.
I liked it more when all round was the neutral element. Now it isn't anymore. Lore-wise, but still feels unnecessary. Yes, exactly.
No,
Can't
it's
believe Life Wonder released the same element twice.
You don't think it's necessary that your boyfriend Jorm gets the special attribute before anyone else?
I like the fact that he's Infinity, but he could also have been all round, and I would have preferred it more, to be honest. If Infinity and Zero did not exist,
You're like,
and he was all round.
Yeah, I think it sucks that Infinity and Zero basically don't interact with the rest of the elements at all, because with Infernal, Valiant, and Wild, at least they interacted with the, normal elements, so, there was a bit of strategy there. But here it just, you actually have it on hand. But here,
last time.
here it just, the two new elements do nothing except to each other, so it kind of feels like if they were all, it would be the same. All around, if it would be the same.
I'm gonna presume it's for lore reasons. You know what I bet? I was thinking about this last night. I'm thinking, whenever Kirito releases, he's gonna be Zero type. Just watch it. It's totally gonna happen.
Okay.
Yes, because he has 0 relevance.
But don't really like the new elements just for the fact that they can't equip shit for ARs.
That's true.
And you can't put them in the support slot except for free.
World
Yeah.
Valiant Infernal Syndrome. Just give it a bit, and then they'll still be not as accessible, but whatever.
The only good thing about these new elements is that it's funny that Tangaroa Infinity and Wakantanka Infinity are not Infinity elements. That's the only good thing that to come out of these new elements is it's very.
I feel like just because Infinity exists as an element now, there's a really good chance that Mugen units will receive variants as well. Imagine those Mugen units receiving variants before Triton. That'd be hilarious.
That would be terrible because it would make no sense in the lore, but sure. The new characters introduced might have been unfit for the current elements. You know what's sad? In Jorm 3-star bio, one of his lines basically said he's not going to meet his brother in Tokyo. What the heck, Life Wonders? I'm pretty sure he said that they're both from different time periods, so they wouldn't recognize each other if they saw each other. It's not. They even met each other in the FKARE collaboration event and didn't recognize each other. So I guess that's what they were referring to in the bio. Maybe they just wanted more color since it's supposed to be an LGTB game IG. I don't know what this is referring to. Wonder when the new Elements daily quests will be released. I need more stones. Oh yeah, that's gotta happen soon, right? I also hope they add the new supports because I want to put Jorm there and I want to have my free slot available again. Life Wonders likes that type of story. Is Life Wonders going to change the elements of other units? I don't think they are even allowed to do that. Or you can just... We only get new transients with, or if Life Wonders wants to balance attribute distribution, only variants with them. I didn't understand this.
I don't really
maybe.
either, but maybe he's talking about they're gonna increase the count just by making a bunch of variants coming up for them.
Probably, yeah. I don't think they can be changed, swipe. Also, I don't like the fact that these elements, they're releasing these new elements while All Round still only has like 6 units. Who knows?
I mean,
we could get a Mugen Wakan, Mugen Tanger variant with the Infinity element.
Honestly, they did release a bunch of all-round units before the introduction of these ones, so maybe that trend will continue.
Hopefully. Hopefully they also don't forget the other elements. Like, when was the last time we got a Valiant unit? Zavi Hanran.
I actually can't remember.
Yes, it was Onsen Shalado. It was 1 year ago.
I mean, let's not forget, another 5 stars are still in short supply, so...
Hive Mind for the Pressed Bowl. Proc those after buff skills. It's like you introduced Tanga and Wakan to Hot Topic and they suddenly got a personality change as well. Anyway, it seems like Jorm can fit well with Tangaro. Let's let him spam more his CS while Jorm steals more HP from enemies. Nice. I can't believe he power creeps Fencer and Enigma as walls. True. Rest in peace, Flame Lord 69.
No.
Poor Enigma, he is restricted to be only a wall. He's not even a good wall. Jack of all trades. More like Jack of none trades pensive. Tomte Synergy. Nirunari Nakarari. Oh right, that's supposed to be J. Kagu's thing. For me, it's event boost over speed up to 4 turns. Wait, does Kamui AR work with this HP draining?
What's the
I don't know,
AR?
I don't have that AR. It's the one that increases healing, but
Oh.
I think it should. Yes. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have this AR, and I don't have any friends with this AR, I think. And if I do, I don't use their supports.
It probably should work though,
I-
because that AR doesn't work on the healing over time effects, but it should work on like skill effects that are healing. If I remember correctly.
In that case, it should be nice if you use them with a
That's how
unit
it works.
that has their AR. You were going to say something?
Yeah, that's how it works. But if you need to use it, I can put it up if you need.
That's fine. I can test it later. I'm liking Jorm in my run. Oh my god, why he has wall, he's surrounding Tokyo, yes. I'm using double Jorm. When Jorm pops up near the end of the quest of the event, he's a part of Fenrir's group who was apparently looking for him, so I guess that he just shows up unannounced.
Cover your ears, Alex. These are spoilers for the dungeon.
Oh no.
He is Infinity, but doesn't have all range CS, which is literally Infinity kick. Honestly, if he had all range CS, I feel like yes, it would make his healing super potent, but also reduce his damage a lot. And I wouldn't like that. Literally just finished reading it because I'm behind on events, which is why I remember a lot. I guess you can make him weapons change CS all. Yes, it's time to get out our Tashtas. No. Actually, no, it's not Tashta, it's Licho, isn't it? Introducing new elements so every player feels an immediate mat drop. So true. I had to grind this event to even get my Jorm past 40. Would have been a better idea if both of the elements resistant to 3 unique elements, or probably just one of them. Yeah, it would have been better if it had any interaction with the others.
Kind of funny.
As well.
It's like some people are on the side of these attributes shouldn't even exist, and then others are saying they should have even more interactions. I mean, it is what it is. I'm kind of surprised they didn't make more interesting interactions either. But, you know, then like the people who don't even want the new attributes would yell even louder, so I guess it's an okay compromise. Anyways, that's all the comments, so I think we have lingered a bit too long on Jormungandr. Before I proceed though, looking at the time, I know you said you only had 1 hour here, so did you want to cover the next topic as well with Yamasachihiko, or can you wait?
It's fine. I said I had 1 hour, but that was at minimum. I can still stretch it out a bit.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll just proceed with, I already forgot who's next. That's not
It's me doing
Yes.
Gorozaemon.
It's Gorozaemon.
Okay.
Very close to Goemon, but not quite. Go ahead.
Okay. Gorozaemon, as I'm reading their kit again right now, they are the new Nun element, which, if you remember, takes extra damage from the new Infinity element and does extra damage to all round. If I have this element trio correctly. They're the new welfare unit, so you can and if you want to, should max their sacred artifact level. And I'm going to sort of quickly summarize them as basically kind of like a mix of Marcosius and Boogeyman if you like removed Boogeyman's pull. Because Boogeyman has this like fear and break if you kind of remember their kit, and they have this element of Marcosius where they have increased horizontal movement and applies tenacity and well, Marcosius doesn't have defense up, but basically they're defensive to the people behind them. So probably the most interesting part about this kit is that they give defense up at a 90% rate at a 3x2 box behind. Defense up is somewhat rare to be given nowadays. There's not really a lot of options that you have. I get like the most obvious one is like Gangly. But for welfare, this is like a pretty high rate, and it combines with the tenacity that they give to themselves and behind. So what that means in general is that they are somewhat stall oriented outside of this break, helping boost damage for your entire team. And the other part about their kit is that they actually have a somewhat decent amount of CP generation due to the fact that after you move them, they get 16 CP, and they also get combo. So their CP generation can be quite high just due to these two aspects. And this is pretty good because their CS is really strong, since it has crit and you can max their sacred artifact level. So if you do max or sacred artifact level, by themselves, this CS will do about 24k slash damage, which is pretty alright. It's not very high compared to like some of the meta units nowadays that just deal like 13k in magic range for a normal attack. But for like a welfare unit that is a 4-star, this is pretty okay damage. Their CS is also pretty important because this is their only source of self-healing. They get a 400 HP to themselves, and it extends behind them in shot range apparently. So yeah, it's a fairly straightforward kit. You ferry around your units, boost your team's defense, and try to get their CS as much as possible. I still think they're somewhat frail due to the fact that they only have tenacity to themselves, and they have to depend on their CS for healing. So I think a good recommendation for them, for partners, would be an extra source of defense or healing. So yeah, it's a fairly straightforward kit, and since they're the new special Nun element, they won't really be feeling any heat from any of the new element, any element except for the new Infinity element. So they're actually somewhat of a fairly decent tank, since they're kind of like pseudo all element. Yeah. So for ARs, there isn't much to recommend due to the fact that they're Slash and the new element. I think some obvious picks are the Hogan Toji AR, so that they can apply Fear and Break to more people by pulling them in. The Suzuka Tetsuox AR is actually pretty good because they have combo. I guess you can also do the Zhao Chernobog AR if you wanted to get more CP gen for a while. Other than that, you can just put in whatever and try see what works.
There's a number of ARs I'd say they are be good with. Well, good is a stretch, but would synergize with. Like the Astarte Asterius one, if you want to extend their freeze range a bit and give them one extra freezing ability, since that applies oppression. There's also
that one's turn. Okay, yeah.
There's also the Hawkman Sasagwa one, which gives advantage to just frozen units in general.
I don't really like their damage in general, but their CS, then sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually 1.3 to both, so if you get both on, then...
Again, not all of them are the best choice, but it'll depend on whatever people have, and it could be good if you're using them anyways. There is also the Marcosius Teratome one, which... Did you mention? I'm sure you probably would have.
Oh, I don't really like that AR for the crit ability, because it's like 2 times at 30%, I think.
I mean, but you'll be moving a lot anyways, is what I say, as it moves a lot, right? If it's incidentally like that and they already amplify damage to themselves, then might as well. You could also bring the Aizen Kalki AR, that shit one that gives 5 CP at a 50% rate, since they already give CP. You may also consider the Kalki Hati one, since it gives just a bunch of CP for every single time they hit, and they actually can hit 6 times because of combo, which is a neat thing to have in that kind of context. There's Sashiatsu Matsumura if you want to remove buffs, I guess. Suzuka Gyuma would be pretty good actually for the evasion. 6 hits for a chance of that. And
it's Suzuka Tetsuox.
I don't know why I wrote that.
I did mention that one.
My bad.
I did mention that one because 6 hits is very good for evasion.
Yeah. Essentially, like, you're hitting pretty much like effectively the whole board in that kind of context. There's also the Snow Gyuma one if you want like nourishment on tops, which lets them be a bit tankier. And you probably mentioned the Hoken Toji one as well, but yeah.
So yeah, they're fairly straightforward. It's just like a defense, a mainly defensive unit. There's like some defensibility with like Fear and Break that you can probably exploit, but it's like a bit too complicated to think about. But due to their CS having like so much strong damage due to them being a welfare unit, they kind of have some tank busting abilities. So I would pair them with, some sort of defensive support to also help them out, like some form of healing, and just like your main damage dealers and maybe another damage buffer so that they can actually do some damage as well.
I think Gorozaemon's kit is just pretty surprising in general in terms of how simple it could be nowadays. It's like Gen 1 in terms of size, but nonetheless, it still like has decent obvious utility that is actually at good rates. Well, good as a stretch, but they're at perfectly usable and guaranteeable rates.
How much damage did you say the CS did?
It's 24k by itself, I think.
Is it? I'm
Without
getting different
break is what he's saying too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did I forget the 2 times?
From break?
Yeah. Or
is it like 48k? I don't know.
I mean, it'd be a bit more than that since break is 2.4 times, I think.
without break, I'm getting 41k.
Oh yeah, it's 41k. Yeah. I don't know where I'm getting 24k.
There's also the combo
break.
part, which you may want to factor in.
you would never have. Oh yeah, combo, right? But you would never have break and the CS at the same time because
you
wouldn't attack.
I mean, you could if they survived the first time. I don't know.
Well, they pretty much are going to survive the first time if it's just them by themselves, like hitting, because their damage is super weak. But yeah, okay, I'm wrong. It's actually 41k because I don't know where I got the 24k. But yeah, it's 41k. So that's pretty high. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about them, is that you try to get their CS as fast as possible while stalling, and then hit people for this 41k CS or more.
Okay. I have a few other thoughts, and I do mean very few since I gave my AR suggestions already. But I would also recommend Gorozaemon with Boogeyman, just because they both do the pulling for them, as well as they also have, I believe, fear advantage. So there's some synergy there. And we'll get to this much more later on, but I do think Gorozaemon would be pretty good, or a decent choice anyways, with the new unit Oz from this event. So fun to talk about later, but it should be obvious why with his 2 debuffs that he plays.
Irby is dead.
Herbie? So.
Nope, I'm here, but yeah, I just think this is a pretty underwhelming unit, but yeah, okay. I do like the fact that he has defense up in a very large radius, because that's pretty rare to have on a renewable rate at a good rate and renewable as well. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, defense up.
Yeah, like having it refreshable is really rare, and most of the time it's got a pretty terrible ray or it's prohibitive range or something like that. But Gorozaemon just does it in a massive one at a 90% rate, which is ridiculous.
Well, kind of like a reverse Daikoku that has to move.
Yeah. Yeah, I get, like, it's strong. I don't know if I want to say ridiculous just because it gives the impression that people will use this unit, but yeah.
Yeah, no one will use it.
Like,
because it's a stall unit, but it is pretty good stall unit. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's surprisingly short as a general unit, but also very, like, I can't deny its utility. Unlike Daikoku,
yeah,
he actually does apply some extra stuff like break and fear as well for that extra damage.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to label them as good just because I know basically nobody is ever going to use this unit ever, like for farming or for like anything.
I don't think it's a fault of their kit or anything. It's just that, you know, it's not flashy, so people just look at everyone else's.
Well, it's also it is kind of like the fault of their kit. It's like stall oriented, kinda. It's like
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I suppose, but so is Jormungandr. I'm sure
Maybe
people
maybe
use them.
One Life Wonders makes more survival quests that they stopped doing last year. Maybe they will use it. I don't know.
Maybe survival quests kind of has some weird problems with how they're designed nowadays, but who knows? Who knows?
I like the Motosumi one.
Yeah. Anyways, let's just clarify since we didn't mention this earlier, but it is confirmed in the research profile that they do not identify as a gender. So this is probably the first explicitly non-binary unit in this game. I think I talked about this as Algus, but everyone else was some kind of weird catch case where it's either not explicitly said or it's some weird thing where they're actually they might be like identifying as one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I've been calling them for most of this
So you can
discussion.
avoid being cancelled, of course. Anyway,
Yeah.
if that's it, then you are free to read out the comments. Go ahead, Milk.
It's okay. They're already cancelled for going to Hot Topic, getting those threats.
Where did we leave off? Is it?
Let me check. We left off at.
Irby can only do an hour. Also, Irby
Okay.
stays for free.
Okay.
Yeah, it was exactly that one. Yes.
Also, OMG, Gorgonzilla, my beloved. Waiting for someone can be like that. It the B shonen character. Does that? I don't know. With all that pink, I'm almost expecting Tiny Tomo to get a 0 variant for no reason in particular.
Man, everyone sees
they
this
are
as
new
pink. I can't
inter-
see this as anything but magenta.
Okay. And also, it's an event with the invaders. Man, I know what that's like. As for someone who loves to move, fear resistance is a good thing to have on them. Yeah, fear resistance is pretty good because fear is pretty much the most common, like, I think it's basically the most common movement restricting debuff. I mean, I've been testing them and gotten hit with like break and oppression though. So yeah,
Oppression's fairly common,
Just
but
like-
break is less common. I think it's just because fear doesn't really do anything besides stopping you. Like, sure, the CP reduction's annoying,
Yeah.
but it doesn't reduce your damage or amplify theirs or something like that.
Oh, they can use Sathagua AR for extra damage on fear. Nice. Yeah, but like as I said, well, I didn't really say this, but like their damage is just pretty shit because it's 3,809, and it's like you're just like hitting them twice. It's just like okay. Non-binary rep, nice. Welfare unit, nice. Thumbs up. Okay hand. For whoever is using welfare-only squads, you can drop C-Tree now. Goro does better work for you now, lol.
Actually, yeah,
C-Tree
that's
is
true.
better.
C-Tree almost had no relevance as a welfare unit, and now he's
History is over, party.
Gorozaemon pretty much erases all utility from him.
He killed
Yeah,
Smoky.
I actually haven't mentioned it, but I actually think Goro, if you did want to do like a welfare-only team, they would be good with the hero just due to this tenacity behind themselves, so that you can
Give
trigger
the
the
buff.
after buff
Yeah.
effect.
That would be good.
Gorgonzola, and that's it.
Very important comments. Anyway, we're throwing it back to Irby. Hopefully he'll be able to remain for this last one before he dips. Go ahead.
It's time to talk about the most important unit of the batch. Except not really. It's Yamasachihiko's variant, which is primarily a CP battery with the and also an Ardor bot. He has all these resistances that he applies on phase start, with fear resistance and charm resistance on a very large diamond radius, which is pretty nice to have. As we talked about, fear resistance is like the most common stopping status in the game, so having being able to bestow this to allies that are going to eventually move. That is pretty nice. Since Yamasachihiko does not bestow this to actually, never mind, he does.
To
I
himself.
checked the notes wrong.
Yeah.
He does bestow this to himself, but he does not need to move at all to use his kit. So it's not really that important in that scenario.
Yeah.
The way he bestows CP is primarily through attacking and passively as well. Through attacking, he bestows a very mediocre amount of CP, 12 CP, but since he is thrust range, he can only actually hit two enemies with this at 80%. And he also has this weird flat damage and also buggy healing effect, which should not be healing, should be most likely damage as well to adjacent enemies that he hits. This is never going to be relevant, but the main gist of it is that he'll be giving 12 CP from each enemy hits, so that's almost 24 CP. That's exactly 24 CP. Plus, he also bestows arousal passively to the left and right, so if your enemies are in a formation that allows them to receive this arousal, that is an additional 10 CP. And since he's an Ardor bot, Ardor is an attacking buff that also bestows CP every turn, so that's an additional 5 CP. So that's pretty nice. Its average is around at 44 CP. He also has some decent damage. He applies weakness passively at 90%, but this is actually 100%. This is going to trigger all these resistances, and he does have an after buff glint at 70%. So he's going to apply all these resistances, and then he's going to, with these resistances, he's going to be able to proc his after buff effect glint almost assuredly, since this is a very high rate for an after buff effect.
But it's not 100%.
And on top of that, he also applies. It's not 100% no, but the weakness is going to go through almost assuredly. And on top of that, he also is capable of charging himself, albeit not that significantly. Although his CS is a bit lacking, it's basically just a simple crit plus it's just a free crit plus on shot range. It transforms from thrust to shot, and now he gains crit plus. The problem with this is that he no longer is able to proc his after attacking and when attacking effects. He can't gain Ardor, and he can't give CP or Ardor to allies. On the turn he's going to CS, but he's still able to proc his weakness, so he's still going to be able to deal some pretty neat damage with that weakness and crit plus alone. Plus, since Ardor is a 2-turn buff, if it lasts while he has the CS up, it can deal some pretty decent damage. Since he's in the banner where Oz is, that is going to be talked about at the end of this video, you can actually use him with Oz, and it's actually a pretty neat strategy, because if you have him on the center and you transform into all range, he's going to charge up your entire team, including himself, and he's going to be able to keep Oz as well charged up, so you can keep giving all range. This is going to into already Oz's kit. This is just something that you can do for this event if you want to keep giving all range to people. In terms of ARs that he can benefit from equipping, I would honestly say he would benefit the most from probably the Spirit of Zen AR, because it does give him access to concentration, which is an additional 10% chance to proc his things, and his rates are a bit flimsy on the 80% because they're already expecting you to have that flinch. So it's kind of like the skill seed bait that already is taking into account the free glint, which is kind of sad, unfortunately. And yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. He's pretty situational. All these resistances can be really powerful, but it's a very big can. I didn't mention the turn start HP because it's not relevant. I also didn't mention the CP, but I did say it was 44 CP. Already taking into account that. The 44 CP is if he hits 2 enemies, that is the average he's going to be bestowing, because the CP gain is every 2 turns.
That's 2 allies, but
no.
yeah.
Yes, it's 2 allies. It's a CP battery.
Yeah. Is that all your thoughts, by the way, for now? Is that all your thoughts? Okay, repeat that. I'm gonna take it from here.
Mine are?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking to Zalgus, but
no,
yes,
no.
Those are all my thoughts. I think he's got some pretty neat values for CP generation. Even though he's quite memed, he can provide a lot of CP per turn. 44 CP exactly per turn, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, his attack buff is very common, and those resistances are very niche. But yeah, those are all my thoughts on it.
Okay. Any thoughts, Milk, Zalgus?
I like that basically all of his stuff works passively, and you don't really need to pay attention to where he is. As long as he's hitting something, he'll trigger everything basically, and I guess I like that. But it's just not very impressive. I guess his CP is decent, but I don't see why they needed to make his turn start ability, one or the other. But I guess he's good for stalling if you wanted to do that.
Yeah. Anything, Milk?
Nothing else? Oh wait, is this the typoed version where it says that he heals enemies, or is that actually what it does?
I mean, the only way to confirm that is to test them out at skill level 1. It's not a typo, it's just what game data, right?
I already skill gemmed mine before I was pointed out that, so I couldn't actually check.
I mean, I don't even know him, so I can't check either.
Yeah, I didn't pull him either, so I can't check him. About this unit, they kind of like, when I was putting this guy in to the wiki, and I saw their kit, their blob of the kit, it kind of looked like Festival Furufumi from a glance, just like this art or whatever stuff. To be honest, I think this is a really underwhelming unit, but it's kind of continuing the trend of easy to use units that Life Wonder somewhat values, where he's pretty much autoplay, right? You just plop him down and then he does his shit, and it helps, and he helps get rid of these nasty fear and charm, which makes new people rage, I guess. So yeah,
I fully agree with that assessment. I would say that's the one good thing about Yamasachihiko. It's, if you have no idea the wiki exists and you have no comparison point for every other kit, and you're just moving your favorite unit constantly to attack, then throwing in Yamasachihiko beside them would be pretty good. You don't even need to know what he does for him to just do a bunch of supportive things that makes them much stronger. So very beginner-friendly without you bothering to understand how game mechanics work. With that said, the moment you know how game mechanics work, you could probably just choose anyone else. The only specific use case of him at that point, and once you understand how to play, is really just throwing him in for fear resistance and charm resistance. But, the specific CP count Irby provided was pretty impressive, I'd say. Although you would have to wait for turn 2, which is not as cool. I guess that's the same thing for Daikoku at that point.
You can kind of get around it by just doing combo, and there's also the CP RNG to help boost the numbers. But yeah, it's just whatever. Do people really care about CP gen when you have Summer Oz doing some crazy stuff? I don't know.
I kind of like how the meta is switched from get as much CP as possible to now, with cases like Oz, try to prevent yourself from getting too much CP.
Yeah, it's an interesting
honestly, I think they both work pretty well together. As I said before, because he's going to be able to keep Oz CSing, and if Oz always has his CS, he's always going to be able to bestow all range.
Well,
At
yes,
least from my
but I feel
experience.
like that's definitely not specific to Yamasachihiko. Units who give CP
It's
when
not,
they
it's
attack
not
is a dime a
specific.
dozen.
There are a lot of units that have when attacking effects. Bestow CP as well, but he also has Ardor, which not all of them do have passive attack buffs.
I
is pretty neat.
suppose. I don't know. It's okay. I didn't mention him specifically because his weakness kind of spits in the face of Oz's skill. That will always be thrust range no matter if he changes his own range.
Yeah, that's sad. Oh well.
Yeah, well, indeed, it's
At least it's not Christmas Oz tier.
Christmas Oz. You mean Christmas Osei? But yeah, it's
Oz, whatever. Osei, whatever. It's the same thing.
Os. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce his name. But yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
And you can just say Osei because that's the Japanese pronunciation, I think.
All right, Osei it is. Anyway, if that's all our thoughts for this completely busted unit that takes an enormous brain to use, then you are free to read out the comments. Take it away, Irby.
Where did we stop again? It was at Gorgonzola,
Something about
right?
Yeah.
Gorgonzola. It's very easy to remember the last point.
Yeah.
Christmas Oz bonus fear damage strats, baby. Oh, I guess this is still about Gorgonzola. Yamasachihiko is pretty hot, tap and popping off with the art, love his voice too. It's pretty much the same pose as Festival Furufumi, isn't it? Damn, too late, literally thought it was last minute. I was underwhelmed by Yama Kids. It's a little underwhelming, but also it's a lot of CP after I combined everything together. It's a little busy back home, so I'm kinda distracted right now. I mean, look on the bright side, he charges around 25 CP on the first turn without counting arousal, but most of the kit is on attack and on piercing range, so... Wow, he's just a mega CP battery. I wonder where it comes out from. To be honest, the charm and fear resist is pretty good. Far from redeeming, but still good utility. Yeah. Now we just need to wait 6 months for the high difficulty quests where it's actually going to be useful. It's almost like Oz as a pretty strong kit or something. Life Wonders doesn't have bias, they say. Also Life Wonders when there's only one furry in the banner. I thought of Oz synergy, but honestly the fact that he also has a chance to supercharge himself and uses underwhelming CS kinda puts me off. His variant biome makes him sound like a big himbo simp. Maybe he heals enemies to fuel drums. HP seal. Reroll accounts, try to pull for him, test him if it's a bug or not. Ah yes, finally, Yama counters Taro Mighty during the Aether dailies. I haven't been paying too much attention to Yama, so I'm not sure. He's been one shot in whatever he hits during the event, so I'm not sure if I even would. That's because there's an attack boost in this event. Okay, I didn't raise my Yama at all, and I just tested it. Skill level 1 actually heals enemies. Oh, thanks Harvey for testing it. It's amazing that you can now resurrect.
How did they make that mistake?
What?
How did they make that mistake? What?
Which mistake?
They also forgot to.
Or they just add the negative sign, or forget to add the negative sign, I guess.
They also forgot to give Jorm CS the HP seal on, so unsurprising. A lot of things were rushed.
Might just be like a
CP
Boolean
is
between
only-
0 and 1 for that.
I don't know how that works. CP is only bad for weak charge skills or better on attack triggers. Why? These summer units kind of play off each other. Use Yama with Licho skill level and Summer Oz. I don't know, I feel like these strategies are too big brain for little payoff, but
Yeah.
sure.
Alright, and that's all she wrote for Yamasachihiko. I do think it's kind of funny how we're so entitled now with even better kids. Like, frankly speaking, guaranteed weakness plus ardor is just like pretty good. It's like near constant crit level damage. Just be expecting more nowadays, right? Anyways, let's just move on to the next unit. This will be handled by Milk, I believe. No, this is Zelgus, Smoky God. Or is this Milk? This is Milk, right?
No, it's me trying to
Zelgus.
put off making me speak again. Right. It's finally time for me to speak. So, Smoky God. He comes in as this kind of weird dual-purpose unit. He can be a frontline attacker or a backline supporter, but they're mutually exclusive. He can't do both at once. So I'll go through the less interesting stuff first. When he appears, he applies Anchor and Anchor Strengthening to the entire party. Anchor Strengthening is deal 1.5 times damage for 7 turns. I mean, I guess it's okay. It's just a global damage buff. Even if it is only 1.5, it's still nice to have. Anchor only lasts 3 turns though, so unless you reapply Anchor with Smoky God's CS or through some other means, you're looking at a 3-turn, 1.5 times damage buff. Oh yeah, 2-turn, right? Doesn't that mean it's actually only 6 turns? Because it's worth it. Okay, so it's slightly worse than I've realized, because I forgot about that. Great. But yeah, it's fine, it's global, whatever. Face style, he applies weakness resistance in a 3-square diamond range. It's really specific, but maybe it'll be useful if you for some reason decide to bring Smoky God into a quest that inflicts weakness. Based up Ron self, sure. When he dies, he heals allies in a 3-square diamond range for 2k HP. That's useful for meme reviving strats, or in general, really, if you want the healing, because it's a decent amount of healing, but it's also just a really massive area. Some of the other units do it in a smaller range. I think like Tetsuox was in a 2-square diamond radius, or is it all around, or something like that. But it's smaller than Smoky God's, I'm pretty sure. So it's nice that it's big. So onto his dual purposes. When Smoky God attacks, he will give himself 8 CP and heal allies adjacent for 800 HP per unit hit. So that could actually be a really fat heal. If you hit 5 enemies, that's going to be a 4k heal, which is kind of ridiculous, actually. He doesn't heal himself, unfortunately, but to his allies, they'll definitely be very healthy. On enemy turn start, he'll push away enemies in a long slash range. And that serves to protect Smoky God from retaliation, and also assist in his turn start ability, which is that on every turn start, he will apply weakness in a wide slash range 1 square away. So where he just pushed the enemies to, basically. Assuming that one of the enemies Smoky God just pushed moves, and moves down, Smoky God can still apply a weakness up to 4 enemies at turn start, so I guess that's cool. And if they don't move, then Smoky God can move up and attack the entire row with the weakness advantage, or with the weakness, not an advantage. With weakness and brawn, he'll be dealing 13k damage, which isn't really that amazing, but I mean, it can easily be stacked up anyway with other buffs because he only has brawn and weakness. But I wouldn't say his utility is really as a primary attacker. But his other purpose is as a backline support. When he misses, he provides adamantine to adjacent allies and self at a pretty good rate of 80%. On-demand adamantine is still quite rare, and especially to have at such a high rate. Other methods of getting it are harder or lower rate. There are like some effects that are like phase start, like Motosumi or Sessibu Motosumi, or on debuff for Takemi no Kata, and that's lower rate as well. So Smoky God can provide that very easily. And he will also bestow Guts upon the ally in front of him at a massive 90% rate. So whoever is in front of him is essentially immortal as long as Smoky God doesn't fail his proc or die, and as long as the ally in front doesn't get hit with the buff removal. Why is someone saying that it's buffering? I just read the comments. Out of the corner of my eye, is it buffering?
I'm not seeing the video right now, so I don't know.
Where'd Arrow go?
Oh, I'm right here. Don't worry, it's not buffering.
Okay.
Sorry, I had myself
that.
muted. I just assumed I was unmuted. My bad. But don't worry, it's fine.
Okay, it's not buffering. So Guts at a 90% rate is completely ludicrous, especially refreshable. It's really easy for him to get, and it's super reliable. 9% is obviously, like, you can guarantee that easily. If you skill seed him, or if you sit anyone who gives him glint or concentration or whatever next to him, and even so, 9% is on its own is still great. In any maps with only one range enemies, you can essentially stall indefinitely, as long as the person up front doesn't get buffed. So that's cool. He also takes 1k damage when he's missing, which is probably to make stalling a bit less effective, because in any map with a 2-range unit or more, eventually Smoky God will just get poked and die when he reduces his HP enough. And his CS applies Anchor in a 3-squared diamond radius. Well, it's cut off, but I don't know why it's listed like that on the wiki. It's kind of annoying. But
like what?
It's 3 squares to the left and right of self, and then 3 squares in a diamond range behind self.
It's not listed like that on the wiki at all. That's customly edited because it appears worse on the wiki.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
I mean, it would be more awkward if I said within a 3-square diamond range, excluding ahead, which, okay. So that's why I listed it like that.
Fair enough. So he applies Anchor, and Guts to allies adjacent, and also heals self and allies. So that's his only method of self-healing. Unfortunately, the Anchor doesn't apply to himself, which means that he can't take advantage, air quotes around advantage, of Anchor strengthening. I mean, I guess it's not that big a loss, it's only a 1.5 times damage, but I just feel like that's kind of stupid that he doesn't reapply Anchor. It's not like Anchor is a broken buff. I don't know, it just feels like something's missing there. As for ARs, I don't really have any particular synergies. There's the Kuma Akiha Gongen Valentine's Day AR, or Valentine's Day Adventure AR, which mitigates some of his HP loss. It just heals him while he's under half HP. And then I guess there's the Gumao Shenong first soak of the year AR for healing on miss, but that has worse rates. But besides mitigating his HP loss, there's not really a huge amount he can use. Overall, his most interesting trait is probably just his 90% guts. As a frontliner, he's not amazing. He can, like, you know, help you advance by constantly pushing them away, but he's also not that tanky if he immediately goes up front, because he won't have his own adamantine. I'd say it's just easier to use him as a guts bot. We've had guts bestowal before, but we haven't had it every turn before at such a high rate. The closest relation is Horus, who gives guts all around at a 90% rate, but he can only do it on even turns, so he has to rotate whoever's tanking, and he has to move. Smoky God does it on miss, just to the person in front of him, so the move slot is free to use. And besides that, I guess refreshable adamantine at a high rate is his other more notable trait, and besides that, I wouldn't really call him that great. But I guess it really is just his two support abilities that make him interesting for me. But yeah, that's about it.
He's even better than he's even better than Horus, even if Horus could give guts every turn, because he doesn't even have to move to do that. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting him behind Kanan Tangaroa for infinite guts for the entire, and when I eventually looked at that adamantine, then I thought, it's very funny that he has the one defense buff that Itzamna with Kanan Tangaroa do not have. Interesting. So that's it's very interesting, because with that team, you'll pretty much make it mortal team if they don't have buff removal.
Anchor would be useful
always
too, because that Kanan Tangaroa Itzamna setup is actually pretty vulnerable to just getting pushed away by, which is kind of funny given how busted it is.
Did you roll Smoky God?
I did actually.
It's time, Ara, for your infinite cut strategy with Kanan Tangaroa.
The new staple. Honestly, Guts was always like possible anyway, since Itzamna could equip the Guts AR from Tadatomo. But now I don't even need to rely on AR from that. Just something else.
You can put prayer.
I wish I had the prayer. One of these days. Okay. Did you have any other thoughts, Irby or Milk?
All right. You can use the weakness resistance to negate Hindelos' weakness and Jay Kagutsushi's weakness and Valentine Kuma's weakness and all those units that have weakness for some reason to themselves.
I mean, Jay Kaku's makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you can use the weakness resistance with Easter Feel, and so that he doesn't like die.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Fucking
I forgot
Easter
he
Feel.
existed, but that counts too. Yes, but that
Essentially just Sandia, but he dies instantly.
Yeah, and he probably wouldn't die also due to the adamantine and guts if you get either one of them. But yeah. To be honest, my thoughts on him is that I've actually been using him for anchor strengthening, like, because I don't have Yoritomo or Fushi, so I'm trying to get this like free nourishment.
You're
from the other
reaching
side of
the
map.
discount bin, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. I think overall, I think this kid is like just extremely strange. Like, there's like effects that are like good by themselves, but they don't mesh with each other at all, I think.
Kind of the same way with
like you've covered the...
Yamasachihiko and even Furufumi. They have like...
No, I wouldn't say Yamasachihiko or Furufumi. It's just like by themselves, like each skill effect is like good. It's just that they don't like make sense together, in my opinion. Like, Yamasachihiko, it's kind of obvious that they're going for, like, CP gen and stuff, but, like, this is, like, I don't know what the heck the design of this kid is supposed to be. So, yeah.
Presumably, either you attack with them for the first few turns, or you can go directly to just gut spamming. But either way, like, they lose that utility of just attacking because they can't really put on anchor on themselves, and Ron eventually expires and all that.
I'm pretty sure it's just designed to keep the enemies as far away as possible, so that only one enemy can get close to him. But
only if you put them in the front, really.
I don't know how.
So it's like you can't really do both at the same time. So yeah, kind of. I was comparing him to Furufumi because Furufumi also had, I mentioned a few times, that mutually exclusive function of either being a frontline tank or a backline charge spammer. Here it's like, you know, he obviously can't push units and at the same time like apply weakness to that same row. So kind of either a damage dealer or a guts / adamantine giver.
Yeah, it's just really strange. And there's like that fat heal. It's just like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you could either like,
because like you see 800 as like, what the heck? This is like super high for a heal.
Maybe like, that's the idea they're going for. It's like he loses a shit ton of HP from spamming guts, and then eventually you need to put him back in front to start. Actually, he doesn't even heal himself. Never mind. I don't know.
He doesn't heal himself. Well, I'm pretty sure
that's himself in the CS. But
you can't build your CS unless you put him in the front either, so very confusing.
Yeah, it's just a very strange kit. It's like, it looks like you have to like CS spam to like refresh anchor, and then you also get the guts and healing.
Can he even get his charge fast enough for that to be relevant? It's like only 6 turns, the anchor strengthening.
Well, it's 8 CP. Well, it's 8 CP.
Yeah, you can most surely get it, yes.
Presumably it's enough anyways.
Yeah, it's just a strange kid in my opinion.
Okay.
And not in like the good OG Smoky God way, where it's like, yes, I can like use this as a meme. It's just like, what the heck do I do with this guy?
You gut spam, you can ignore everything else and literally just focus on the guts. It's pretty decisive what that one thing does, to be honest. Obviously he'd be super busted for sword dungeon, but no one has problems with that. But any kind of quest that has low vertical range enemies. In fact, you don't even need to wait for a quest to do that. You could bring Smoky God with Azathos, Halloween Police Azathos, to force everyone to long slash range, just so that it'll constantly...
Right, I forgot.
Yeah, Azathos is actually such a... I really wish they pulled him. God damn it, he's such a good unit. Oh well. But
I forgot to say, you can use him with Hermes, so that his HP removal
Stop.
There you go.
I guess.
I mean, in this case, it's actually good because it takes away the whole drawback. Because on his case,
but yeah,
it's actually a drawback.
Yeah. Well, anyways, besides that, you could also do. There's again, we'll talk more about this later, but they may also coerce everyone to a different smaller range by using Masanori with Oz, for example. The new Oz to apply a long slash change to everyone. Lots of options with Oz, and then essentially they can't really hit Smoky God as a result for the first 4 turns, I think, or was it 3? Can't remember. And besides that, I would also say he's what's it called? You would be good to also prevent him from getting hit in the first place if you could just prevent the enemies from moving horizontally. And you could do that with things like Confusion from Isaac and Turing. And you may also instead try some new cheese with horizontal pushing, such as with Nausea, Babe Bunyan, or Marduk paired with Oz again to just push everyone to the side. And you could also just freeze everyone instantly, which kind of accomplishes the same thing as Confusion, like with Kibun Kamui or Golden Bursty. And then you can use Jurong to just keep those debuffs in place, and then Smoky God will forever never be in range of anyone. Yeah, those are all my thoughts on him anyways.
That's spam out of 10.
Okay. If that's it, then you are free to read it to comments, Elgus.
Whoa. I don't know where we were.
It's always a question, isn't it?
Try the double eye emoji, I think.
Yeah, there you go. CP is only bad for old weak charge skills or better on attack triggers. Yeah. Yeah, CP is always kind of annoying on some units who have basically useless CSs. Why these summer units kind of play off each other. Some of them do. Use Yama with Leech Host Skill Evo and Summer Oz. What was Leech Host Skill Evo?
It was
like
the weapon
CS
change to all 4 weapon change when they're like over 80 CP or something like that. I forget. 70, 80, something like that.
Yeah. It was actually the smoke weed every day that you had to start at. Sorry about that.
Oh, smoke weed every day. Jojo time. Yes. Smoky God in his stand. Got Smoky and Yam on the first pull. Congratulations. Oh my god, Seth Synergy Pog. Seth Synergy?
Definitely not. He
It's
gives
for the
anchor
anchor.
to everyone, but like he already gives anchor in turn 1, so.
Welcome back, and then a bunch of Japanese.
I don't think that's spam. I'm pretty sure that middle part says Housamo. That doesn't say that. It says Summoner's Hero to something. So something about summoner heroes.
I see. Who do I miss? You have missed part of Smoky. Well, I guess you were here for Smoky God. You've missed Gorozaemon, Jormungandr, and Yamasachihiko. Oh my god, I never noticed his stand on the left-hand side. Yeah, it's just standing there.
Menacingly.
I'm back here. Tool-assisted speedrun. Oh, finally, someone who will definitely love to combine with Ellie.
Oh yeah, that is a good point.
are we
He would
talking
actually be pretty good with any slash range unit that is like dependent on moving.
Oh, I couldn't tell if he meant that or if he meant because Ellie has this kind of weird.
I mean, Ellie kind of just likes being at the front in general, right? With the whole forced possession thing, freezing the enemies 2 squares ahead and then like possessing units directly in front of her.
No, I was just trying to remember what her status effect. She had this weird range where I think it was basically the same
It was
as
fear. It was fear, I think.
yeah, fear and
Yeah, but
Dazzle,
the
stuff
range
like
was
that.
good.
yeah, the same row that Smoky God would hit. Waiting time here. Okay, well, apparently not, but to be honest, I can feel him more as a non-unit in disguise. His damage is too low to justify hitting shit. It's not that bad, but then again, the calculation I gave was with weakness, so really he's doing like sub 7k, so yeah, pretty mediocre. Maybe it's just for them. Oh yeah, loading time just for them. A red orb, because it hasn't buffered for me. Not buffering for me. Bunch of emojis. So is Smoky God the actual human? Is Smoky God the human or the gold stand? Probably the human. Well,
It's
he's
the
not
human.
actually human.
He's in
Spoilers, they're
chapter
both the
12.
same.
Well, I don't even know what his stand is supposed to be, but in chapter 12 they're
Didn't
kind of
you
just like,
read
oh yeah,
chapter
just
12 already?
they might get angry. I don't know.
Didn't you read chapter 12 already?
I did, and he doesn't really explain his stand at all. He's just like, be
No.
careful if you like are too aggressive or attacking, then this might punish you back or some shit like that. I don't know.
So you mean it's an automatic stand?
Perhaps.
Okay, the answer is already there. After.
Smoky God the human is just that, his past self, and his bodyguard is his future transient self. So I'm actually curious, who do you guys think is the worst character in the game, gameplay-wise? Labe?
That's too fast.
Labe 5.
It's not.
Okay, it's like, there are worse units, but if you're talking about 5 stars, it's definitely Labe 5. He's fucking useless. I mean, I guess you could use him as a terrible Arda bot, but besides that, he's not really great. As for best, that varies wildly. It depends on what team you're doing or what mission you're fighting. So a bit of a long conversation for just this. That might be the sort of thing you post on Reddit or in the Summer Chord. Is he supposed to partner with Yorm and create an unkillable duo? I guess he could refresh Yorm's adamantine and also give him the guts that he doesn't need.
Hyper tanks don't really need guts because they're not supposed to reach 0 HP in the first place.
I mean, I guess Yorm wouldn't mind sitting at 1 HP forever with limit.
He wouldn't even be at 1 HP, like generally,
Yeah,
because he'd be healing
15.
immediately. And if he just keeps on surviving my guts, and at that point it doesn't have to be Yorm, it could be anyone.
Leonan, probably not. Weakness on the backline. Oh my god. Macrotch synergy real. Yeah, he exists. And anyone who applies frontline possession, but we don't talk about Volf. What do you mean we don't talk about Volf? I guess that could work, but I don't know. Generally when I bring Volf, it's not for possession, but I don't know. I don't use him that often either.
Is it really synergistic? You're possessing the front line only to kill them instantly with weakness. Is it really? I don't know about that.
Well, I guess you push them away, and they won't move back towards you.
And then they won't be able to hit the enemies either after they're pushed away, but okay.
I mean, if you push all of them away... Alright.
I think it's like you apply weakness to the row behind the front line, so the front line attacks everybody. But the weakness goes.
Then
away,
he would have
right?
to be beside both at that point, which I guess that's technically one way he could be played.
Yeah, because the weakness goes away, I think, on enemy turn start.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay, so weakness is useless for possession in this case. Maybe a grind stream with that discussion. You heard it, Ara. You will be talking about who the best and worst units are.
I'm pretty sure I already give my opinions on those several times.
You don't need to. There's already a tier list.
Stop. We don't talk about that here.
Didn't you unpin that?
I did.
What?
Ara unpinned it.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking the one they posted today on SoundCloud. It's very funny.
Wait, there's a new one?
The only tier lists I see there are like Husbando tier lists. And then of course there's always like the bottom tier with like Kirito and Eita and shit like that.
I'll just send it.
Alright.
But you can continue reading the comments.
That's it, right?
Well, I see it and I already hate it.
You know what? I'm gonna not look at that right now. I would rather just continue this stream. Let's go on because we also want to actually let Irby talk about the other topics, even if he's not leading them. So let's go ahead.
Yeah, I should have left an hour ago, but no one's here yet. So yeah,
Hurry before he disappears into
You think you should
Twilight.
all about that?
Let's go because
Okay.
like I'm pretty sure Irby will contest Oz fairly shortly, but there's a lot of positive opinions of him otherwise. We will now resume with Heracles. This will be handled by Milk. Go ahead, if you will.
Okay, so Heracles is a form-changing unit in the same vein as Festival Licho and McCroy, where he first starts off as magic range, and then he gains weapon change / after attacking, so that he's kind of like a pseudo magic / unit. He also has a pull functionality, so after he attacks enemies, he attracts the hit enemies and the enemies that are adjacent to them by 1 square. So unlike those two, he can actually attract people into his slash range, because the other two go from short to further range, and he goes from further to short range. The next part about his kit is that he has concentration as his main attack buff, and on the odd numbered phase turns, so basically like the first turn of every phase, he's going to gain limit to himself and also give it to allies at fairly like middling rate of 60%. This becomes 70% with concentration, but still like whatever. And he's going to give arousal. It helps with the CP generation, but yeah. So on the odd numbered phase turns, he's going to basically function as long range damage dealer. If you include the concentration, okay, I'll actually save that for later. And on the even numbered phase turns, he's going to switch to defensive mode, where he's going to apply protection and tenacity to his allies, but only tenacity to himself. The last part is that he actually applies curse to enemies. This is at a 70% rate, which is still not that great. It becomes 80 with concentration, but yeah. So there's this there's this functionality of also improving your defense outside of the protection and tenacity on the even numbered phase turns. And he also applies drain, but only to enemies in slash range of himself when he attacks. What this means is that since he has an advantage to drain, for any of the enemies that he pulls into his slash range, they will take more damage as they get pulled into his slash range. Okay, so the part that's interesting about his kit that takes a bit to explain is how this weapon change slash works. So people might not know this, but in these form changing units where you change your weapon mid-attack, the weapon change multiplier gets changed to the slash multiplier instantly. So what that means is that usually magic range has a 0.28 weapon multiplier. That is, your damage is calculated by multiplying all of your attack and buffs by 0.28. And slash has a 0.45 multiplier. However, since he gains weapon change slash after attacking, what that means is that his first enemy hit in the magic range will have a 0.28, will be attacked for a 0.28 multiplier, but every enemy hit afterwards, even in the magic range, will be hit for a 0.45 multiplier due to the slash. So what that means is that his damage actually improves mid-attack during the magic range. And if you calculate that with assuming that he procs the limit and has concentration, this turns out to be 5.6k magic range damage for that one hit of combo. And if you take into account the drain for the slash range, this turns to be 11.2k for the slash range attack. So altogether, this can be pretty high if he's like pulling enemies into his slash range. So you'll mainly see him as, I guess, farming clear, where you pull enemies and try to kill them in the slash range. He definitely needs a little bit of help for getting more damage in the magic range, because 5.6k isn't very much. But for farming, this is like perfectly suitable for the event, and I'm not sure about more of the free quests, but he has potential. The thing that's holding him back, I think, is really these rates being very like weirdly inconsistent. And the last thing that I haven't mentioned is that his CS is fairly strong because he gets crit plus and applies guts to self. Oh right, and there's one last thing, is that if his HP dips below 41%, which is actually somewhat of a strict condition to meet because that's around like 3.2k HP for him.
And he also doesn't really have any way to lose his HP besides getting hit.
Yeah. His CS is supposed to help with that, wherein he gets guts to himself, and you can like try to manipulate the enemy to like try to kill him. But it's in practice, it's like pretty hard to pull off.
Yeah, he's gonna be hitting so many units in like magic range and slash range with curse. So either way, it's
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't depend on it, but like if you get this crit off, it's like pretty nice. Yeah, because his CS does like 29k damage in magic range at SALV1, so I think it's pretty good. Oh, okay. So I do want to talk about Oz here because this is like pretty much the intended synergy, I think, for this character. Because if you remember back to what I talked about with the weapon change slash, because he changes the slash mid attack, this means that he gets the slash multiplier during the all range attack. So this is pretty much like the intended. I think he's like pretty much fairly intended to be used with Summer Oz, and that's one of his best synergies. So yeah, that's pretty much his like main kit in a nutshell. I should actually point out though that because his attack modifier for dealing 2x damage is for drain, you might not see this appear if you use him in something like a high difficulty quest or a free quest for like the boss enemies. So yeah, I think he's just like a very general damage dealer, like sort of in like the Festival Licho sort of way where he can get like a fair bit of damage, but I think he also needs some help. And so for recommendations, I would say that you would just pair him with stuff like, I don't know, Fushi, probably Yoritomo just because his limit kind of sucks, and really just any other like damage buffers, maybe Tindalos because he doesn't have Ardor either. Yeah. The fact that his concentration is phase start means that you want to kill things fast because it's not going to refresh and it only lasts 2 turns long. But he definitely can deal very strong numbers if you make him go that way. Moving on to ARs, you can equip stuff like the Arc AR to make him have more consistent procs. Since he's fire magic, I have the Kashi Lave AR. That seems to work fine. There's the Moritaka Chino AR that gives CP to him. That's pretty good for approaching his CS. There's some other weird ones. You might want to actually use the Kuniyoshi Kashi AR, where it pulls into the enemies into his slash range. It's kind of weird, but because this AR normally isn't very good, but I think it might be good for him since he deals more damage to enemies in slash range. There's the Kuragane I think it's the Amatsumara AR. Yeah, Kuragane Amatsumara AR, and that allows him to deal more damage. But yeah, just pretty much just like pick whatever you want to get more damage. And that's pretty much all I have to say about him. He's just like a form-changing unit that has fairly obvious synergy with Summer Oz due to the weird way of how weapon change works.
Yeah, to reiterate what Milk was saying about that, you're essentially just going to be hitting everyone on the board as if you're actually hitting them with a slash range unit at that point. So, like, the actual multiplier for that would be greater than crit, but that's the effect essentially. Just imagine Heracles going up to every single unit and slashing them, and that's what happens when you pair him with Oz. No one else has that effect because... Yeah. Actually, doesn't, like, Summer Faces have something like that? And maybe... What's it called? McRoy.
No. No, it's not Summer of Faces. It's only Festival Licho and McCroy, but their multipliers actually go down. Except for McCroy 3, where he goes from like slash to thrust. So his thrust is actually 0.55.
Oh, I see. I see. Well, I mean, it was like not in that context, but like in the context of the all range that Oz was going to give anyways, right?
Oh yeah, if you compare it to all range, then yeah. The thing that you have to watch out for is that since all of those units have combo, it's not as like big as you think it is. But in the case of like Heracles, who's just like strong, I think, then it's the most noticeable. For somebody like Festival Icho who like needs to move, not really that great. And also McCroyhe is McCroyhe, so you don't really get that much damage.
True. So
Actually,
Heracles just leveled him.
Actually, I think Festival Icho might be good because he needs to move to get the combo, but then there's also the damage buff stuff. So I don't know.
Well,
It's weird.
you could also.
Yeah.
Actually, never mind. I was about to say. Well, we can talk more about it when Oz comes up, but
Yeah.
we're not even talking about Heracles at this point. We're just talking about like other units. But there's a lot with Oz. Heads up, it's gonna be a long talk about him. But yeah, he has an interesting house range thing going on for him. I didn't really write much for him though because I wanted a magic range damage dealer, and he is not that despite being magic range. The first hit he does is actually incredibly weak as a result because it just has the worst multiplier with magic, along with no limit at all, no chance of it, since it's after attacking. And also his later hits in general just get stronger because like he'll pull them in for that drain advantage. So it's weird how he functions in terms of, within the same attack, it's only the later hits that do it more. But as a result, I can't really say he's a great grinding unit since he can't consistently hit all the squares with the same damage. And like also there's the fact that sometimes ideally he'd be hitting someone at the very tip top with his like shot tip of his magic range, so that everyone else in his like slash range +1 ahead of him can get pulled in. But in a wide slash map, there's no such area, so it's at least one of the units has to be hit with like extremely weak damage at that point.
Yeah. I think he has like some potential to be used like fairly regularly, but I think he's just like extremely weird and inconsistent that he's just like, it's more of like a wait and see situation and how much usage he'll get in the future.
Perhaps. Okay, any other thoughts? Irby? Saugus?
Ew, another fire unit. That's it. Those are my thoughts.
Very cool.
I really kind of dislike him just because his rates are terrible. Like, he kind of does kind of unimpressive damage, especially without his limit, and his limit is 60%. Like, and he becomes a defensive unit on off turns, so like, I mean, tenacity and protection both in one effect is strong, and it doesn't matter that the rate is lower because you only need to proc it once for it to get its full effect. But the offensive side just feels so restricted for no reason. 60% limit, and for some reason it's arousal and not some other attack buff, which would help him more, so he wouldn't have to fish for it repeatedly. So, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess the limit is supposed to work with crit, but I think it would be better if like there was Ardor there, because, or I guess not because all synergy, but if it was Ardor, it would mean that he would get Ardor, he would go through the defensive turn where he can't give himself an attack buff, and then he would go back to offensive and able to re-refresh it. But anyway, even assuming best case, I feel like his damage is kind of mediocre anyway. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled because we've had such really high damage dealers, but I'm not that impressed with him. Also, he's the other unit who is the culprit for making this event so damn slow. He has to proc a million things when he hits things, and it's useful to have 2 Heracles just because they deal decent damage, so, well, at least for the event. So I dislike him further for that.
It's just
like,
part of... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna remind that his damage might look good in the event quest because he has like the 100% attack bonus.
Right.
So yeah, keep that in mind. I think it's like yeah, his damage is like kind of shit, but it's also like you have to take into the fact that it's like a weird mix of like combo of the first hit and then like his slash is the second hit.
I think
Even then, it's not like that amazing either. So
it's just by design, I would say, in terms of he's like there's clearly a lot of things that are designed to make him not do amazing damage early on, between fucking limit not be guaranteed and needing to fish for it several times, and what's called the drain multiplier for its whoever's in slash, but only after you do the second time when you attack with the pull, and just also the after attacking slash age change. He really is a unit just that's designed to do more damage in his later hits and then kind of do fuck all for the beginning ones.
yeah, I think he has potential. It's just he's just kind of unwieldy.
I didn't even realize his drain was in slash range. He's even worse than I thought.
Oh, you thought it was like on attack or something?
Like, yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I must have skimmed it. That is terrible.
Yeah, he's pseudo slash. He's unless the event attack bonus multiplier is very misleading. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, well, that still doesn't change the fact that he would actually be a pretty good choice for Oz as a board wiper with him. But yeah.
Actually, another thing is that if you do use Oz, this drain thing happens early because like if there's enemies in the front, they get hit by the drain, and they also get hit by Oz's weakness. So that's might be why you're seeing a bunch of numbers if you do use him with Summer Oz. Is because like you're hitting the slash range early with the all range.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for your input, Irby, about how it's another 5-star fire unit. I guess we'll just move on.
Yes, I have no other thoughts.
Okay. At least it's honest. You are free to read out the comments in Milk.
Okay. Ara tier list era. OMG, yes. Flop. Get him out. Bicho did better with the pose SMH. My boy. He's been really fun to use. They even need a variant when his vanilla can deal millions of damage alone. I mean, that doesn't deny people getting a variant. 100% proc rate with prayer and glints, yay. Yeah, you need seeds as well. That's kind of sad.
And still on guarantee limit.
Well, there's the concentration, but yeah. I like it more if variants have different roles, or at least like Herc work different. This is a different role. It's a damage dealer, but it's a different spread. He's on a water slide, that's pretty funny. Also good to know about that multiplier lesson, really good. As a proud Cho user, boo, we hate your Heracles. I guess you can combine that, yeah. For all intents and purposes, that was a joke. I was wondering about that. I noticed his weapon change was a bit different than others, but wasn't sure if it was actually affecting anything. That's cool. Yeah, it's also not a bug, because Life Hunters has actually did a high difficulty quest where they did use this to nullify damage. So that was kind of interesting.
Yes, that was the Veil one.
Oh, I was actually thinking of the survival quest with Festival Tezcatlipoca, where they applied the CS weapon change none.
Well, you know the phase where Bale has all range? He actually does some amount of damage, but only for the first unit. And it's achieved presumably by just applying him non-ranged immediately after.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're kind of aware of it, or else they're just making this mistake for no reason. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but I feel like something is missing to really say he is a 5-star. Not sure what though.
damage.
Well, I think his art is just kind of shitty too. But yeah.
Actually,
well,
it's very thick lines for some reason, and like that's his default expression. Okay.
Yeah, his face is
Well-
kind of weird, and there's a banner, like a news banner on the front page of Housamo, and he has this really kind of off-putting grin that I thought was
Yeah.
really ugly.
Yeah. I was telling Harvey this earlier, but it kind of looked like... It just kind of looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo falling down awkwardly. Yeah. And there's this, like, really big emphasis on his feet. I guess, like, some people are into that, but it's just, like... I don't know.
Yum,
Little
yum
time
feet.
slip music during her segment. How convenient the BGM changed. Also kind of annoyed that his curse is after attacking, so you can't make use of the Titri Shiro AR for bonus curse damage.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, he's just like kind of and that just kind of reinforces it. He has potential, but it's just Oz has been brought up a bit in this video. Yeah, because he's kind of designed to work with the people in this banner. Well, at least I don't know.
That's an understatement. Where like
yeah.
half of
I think
all the units.
he
are.
just works a lot. Yeah. But yeah, the banner units definitely apply here as well. Not consistently anyway if you can't pull the enemy in. It's 80%, which becomes 90% with concentration, so it's not that inconsistent. Well, he has a drain multiplier. Because Oz is the new meta, I could go all day on how much shit he can do with the different units now. Yeah, it'll probably take the next 50 minutes or something. And if I recall correctly, there's an AR that has drain multiplier. Oh, I don't want to think about, what is it, that
It was like the Sasagwan.
Hanuman
That's the
Sasagwa
Hanuman, yeah.
AR. Yeah. Gabe Nomad AR kind of helps his rates for a face dart. Oh yeah, I use a support with that. But I also try to block that from memory. Cowboy emoji. That's why you bring Summer Oz and Kengo 3. Does that actually work? I don't know. Prisma became a member for 4 months. Did it for the emojis.
Thank you, Prisma.
Also, I'm bringing it up early, but Oz literally said be careful of who you make fun of during new semester. Hope Ara, you pull a magic range damage dealer. Break though, super pensive. Break, more like break my legs. Break a leg. He needs others to help himself. Especially Glenn's prayer giving units. Valen arc meta. Herc can self-pull as pseudo slash, but enemy formation can hinder him. Yeah. He seems okay. The best thing I can say is that he is a good user of Kashi 5-star AR from Nightmare Kingdom. Yeah, I haven't really tested it, but it could be good. He's a 5-star because he's the bar of 8. I mean, I think even like Yama looks better than him, and his art is just okay. Not that game-breaking, true. Speaking of bait, how much money do you guys spend on the game? I didn't buy anything. I got to rank 85. Also, you guys don't have to answer if you want to. I just buy whatever I feel like. So that turns out to be like a monthly. It does work. Kengo bot gives himself Infinitude and crit alongside the Ardor. Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, and that's pretty much it.
I see. For what it's worth, I don't spend money on this game except for Anniversary and that one time the ARs were released. But yeah, we have various players here. I believe Zalgas has never spent a penny on this game, but Irby has spent an okay amount for one of his favorite units has come out.
That is correct.
Alright, then...
Also, it just occurred to me that Heracles is actually worse than I thought, again, because since he has Drain advantage, and Drain doesn't really work in a lot of CQs, so...
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah, I think he's like farming pretty much that, where you just like try to hyper buff him. But yeah.
I mean,
I would say
think
that
of it this way. I feel like nowadays the best units are designed for farming quests, not even high difficulty quests. Because it's like, you know, like high difficulty quests are designed to be beaten by everyone eventually at some point, no matter what like units you have. Whereas like farming quests, you need to optimize them, and I guess Heracles could be good for that in some contexts, maybe.
See, I was a bit surprised that people said Yama was the worst unit of the banner, because I was actually kind of doubting myself because I thought Heracles was worse, but it's good to know that everyone is realizing how bad he is.
Wow.
Oh, like Heracles as well? Yeah. Yeah, I think Yorm is way better, but
No,
that's
I wasn't
me on
comparing
PPM.
him, I was comparing him with Yama, because everyone was saying that Yama was the worst unit of the banner, and honestly,
okay.
I don't find any use for Heracles at all, ever.
Oz, though. The
Yeah.
Oz synergy.
Yeah, let's just move on to Oz, because it's going to take forever.
Okay, sure.
Also, lastly, you say he's good for farming quests, but he's too slow.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to say that last minute, but
He's not.
I wanted to talk about Oz.
Well,
Okay,
you know,
yeah, we could.
yeah, it's a bit different, but yeah. Let's go on to Oz. This is going to be a very special topic, so Zalgus, you have the high responsibility of leading this conversation. Go ahead.
Okay. So, we have the star of the banner. He's a nice 4-star, so I recommend you go for him. So, Oz kind of breaks the game. I'll talk about some of his less interesting stuff, though, although most of his stuff really revolves around his main effect, which is Weapon Change All. So, when he appears, he gives himself 50 CP, which is for the purpose of controlling his the rates of some of his skills, because he has CP requirements for them. And every turn start, he heals a flat 1k, which is pretty decent sustain for just free every turn, and he gives himself 26 CP, which again is for controlling rates. And he'll bestow weakness advantage to self and adjacent allies. Weakness advantage is only a 1.4 times multiplier, so it's not the most amazing thing. And you know, if you lose it, it's not the worst either. I actually think it would be better if the weakness advantage was bestowed on move instead of turn start, because if you're using Oz, you're going to be moving him anyway, and allies who you want to be buffing are going to be adjacent to him anyway, so it would have been better if it was on move, weakness advantage, but whatever. When he moves, he also applies Ardor to allies adjacent, and that's once again good for his main gimmick. I actually found that Ardor was probably one of the best skills they could have picked, because in terms of buffing damage, at least, a lot of the high damage dealers that you would want to pair with him if you're going for damage strats don't actually have Ardor, so a pretty good choice there. And when he moves, he will also apply weakness in a 3x2 range. Since he'll probably be behind someone, it's really only a slash range, although you could also be up front for an actual 3x2 range. So that's nice. With weakness advantage, weakness goes from 2.4 to 3.36. He will also give himself 20 CP on move if his CP is less than 70. So his main gimmick is when he moves, he provides weapon change all to the ally in front and behind him. And he will also for weakness and weapon change all, those are the two rates controlled by his CP. If he has 70 or more CP, they both are guaranteed at 100% proc rate. If he's below that, then it's only 60, but in practice it'll really be a 70% due to his CS giving himself glint. And honestly, it's not even the worst thing, but he charges up his CP extremely fast anyway, so you'll be back to 100% proc rates in short order anyway. So the applications of weapon change all are massive and completely ridiculous, actually. I wasn't kidding when I said I think he breaks the game. You could go for more vanilla strats of just trying to blow things up by stacking damage buffs, and it's certainly possible to do that. Some of the units who are pretty good for this would be like Valentine's Balor, Summer River Tajikaral, Otohime 4, they all hit pretty hard with the all-range multiplier, which is around the range of about 11k, not counting Oz's weakness. But you would still want to supplement with them with some other buffer. Someone like Yoritomo, who can buff from the sides without moving. And then there's someone like Ulaanbaatar, whose thrust range makes it difficult to take advantage of his pretty fat 5 times multiplier and defense buff negation. So I actually really hated that on Ulaanbaatar, so that's nice. But there are lots of units who have kind of terrible ranges, but strong skills. So they're supposed to balance each other out. Like, you apply really powerful skill effects, but you don't have the range to really spread it as much as you'd like. And Oz completely gets rid of that weakness. So one of the 3 examples is Toji 3. He applies double lock at 90% rate, but he's only a slash range. Well, if you pair him with Oz, you have now double locked the entire board on turn 1. And double lock is, a pretty strong skill. You remove any chance of them CSing or using any skills at all. And there are countless other examples. If you use Chernobog or Hot Springs Miniaki, they're both blow range and they both apply 3 debuffs. Freeze, Curse, Suppression for Chernobog, Fear, Stigma, Skill Lock for Miniaki. And you just, if you power them up, then, well, now you've just debilitated the entire board. And then there's one of the examples I think Ara gave was Masanori 4. He's normally blow range, so that he can only possess, doubt, and weapon change one person. But if you pair him with Oz, you will now possess the entire board and change them all to slash range, so they'll all just start tearing each other apart. And the benefits of this aren't even limited to short range units. There are plenty of long range disablers who would still benefit from having an all range, because all range is way higher than magic range even. So simple examples are Shira and Devil. They apply Fear and Curse at a pretty high rate. Applying that to the entire map would just stun everything instantly, and debilitate them. If you have Bale with the 4-stars Crafter AR, the one that gives Guts resistance, you would have Bale apply Weakness, Oppression, and Buff Reversal while also triggering Buff Reversal instantly to the entire map, like, with no effort. And then there's like Turing rather. I don't know why I read it like how it was poorly translated. Who can globally deny defensive buffs and apply weakness. And it's not even just applying status effects. There are plenty of on-hit skill effects that can do other unique things. With all range, anyone with a knockback could kite any enemy that isn't snipe indefinitely. So there's plenty of units who do knockbacks, but I'll say the notable ones I saw were Gulen Bursty. He has the only 100% knockback in the game, and Amatsumara, who pushes by 2 squares but at 90% rate. So if you pair Oz with them and the enemy doesn't have snipe or all, then you can just stall indefinitely. They will never reach you unless they have like increased movement or something like that.
Snipe.
And then there's allies who like heal or grant CP. You'll just trigger that repeatedly over and over again for the entire map. Goemon 4 can steal buffs, refresh debuffs on the enemies, and heal and drain and grant CP to his allies globally. If you have someone like Beach Seth who removes buffs, then you could have Beach Seth and he would just remove buffs off of everyone, and he also applies Nullify debuff. His summon Tajikarawa again, who he deals decent damage, but he also applies remove buffs when hit, a skill to them that will make them roll to remove debuffs or buffs when they get hit, and also just remove buffs normally, so up to 2 per enemy. So the list for this is practically endless. Like the list Ara made there and has up is like it's not even comprehensive. Like there's way more than that, although these are some pretty good choices.
I tried to be as thorough as possible, but I'm just one guy, Like Jesus Christ.
Protein cry Jesus. And with the knockback strats, there's also other silly stuff you can do with people who like push to the side. for example, if you have Marduk, you could, and Marduk has combo as well. So if you have all range on Marduk, he'll hit everyone, push them to the side, and hit everyone again, and push them to the side again, which would basically just clump up everyone onto the right side of the map, like guaranteed, basically. And you could do something like, say, have a really powerful magic unit on the right hand side waiting for them. So say someone like Balor. So you could just have Oz and Marduk waiting on the left to push everyone, and then Balor just blows them up. You can do silly stuff like that. So honestly, the limits of this is there are no limits, basically. And since Oz applies this, like, it would be ridiculous if he applied it to one unit. Like, we have units like that, like, Mephisto and Leonard, who only buff one unit, but Oz does it to two units, one in front and one behind, so you can combine these. So if you wanted to try and blow up the enemy board, you could pair, like what I said, Bale with someone else, some attacker, and you would stack Bale's debuffs globally, and then the attacker's damage, or you could stack two debuffers and just apply like 3 debuffs each to the entire board, so like 6 plus debuffs to the entire board, no effort. Honestly, the only thing that he's really missing is increased vertical movement, because that would, or I guess increased movement of any kind, because that would help him position a lot more easily. As it stands, you can't immediately get 2 people buffed by Oz on a wide map, unless you bring like Nightglow's Kuragane. Unfortunately, our list of units who give allies expanded movement turn 1 without much effort is very limited. It's pretty much just him. But besides that, there's no other unit like this. Like, he's one of a kind, and I doubt we'll ever get something similar to him. And as the game goes on, he'll just get stronger and stronger as more units who apply any kind of on-hit effect appear. Maybe one day we'll get a unit who could easily bestow him increased movement, and then there goes the game, because allowing him to immediately move to the other side of the map would be great. But as for ARs, there is, I guess he could use the CS multiplier ARs, but Oz's damage is kind of pitiful. His base attack stat is low, and even though he's CSing often, it's not really worth it. So besides that, I'd say there is the Furufumi leaked AR, whose name I forgot to write down, something about antiques, which CS locks the ally in front of him. So one of the weaknesses, I suppose, of this would be that if any of the units who he's all ranging get their CS, then they'll no longer be all range. But if you have the CS locking AR on Oz, then whoever's in front of him will never CS, because you should be moving Oz pretty much every turn anyway. So that would be good. And any on debuff effects would synergize with that too. But yeah, the main thing is that it prevents them from not being all range. So like, Oz is easily the most unique unit on the banner, and by far the most broken. He's he's incomparable, and yeah, he'll just get stronger every event. So Oz can now join vanilla Smoky God in the unit to mention every stream, but it's less of a meme now because Oz has actual synergy rather than just he makes bad proc rates better. If there's any unit who you pull for on this banner, let it be Oz, because you may be facing severe fear of missing out if you in the future if you see cool Oz strats. So yeah, that's it.
That is a lot, but that's still not even like most of everything to talk about. Although we do need to watch for time at this point. So
throat is dry.
What's up?
Did we talk about the CS CP like balancing thing?
My throat is dry. How so? As in,
You know, like when he like CS's on like turn 2, and then turn 3 is just kind of like he has to reroll.
I guess. Well, I didn't mention it specifically, but anyway, so the idea of his CP controlling his rates is that, so he appears and then he gives himself CP, and he'll now be in the range for his 100% proc race, which is good because it means he starts at 100% proc race, which is the most important time. And so by turn 3, he'll have his CS, and then he'll CS, and he'll lose his CP and go back to 0. And that will drop his proc rate back down because his CP will be too low. But since he has Glint, it helps it a bit. It's actually 70% and not 60% as advertised. Outside of edge cases like turns changing or whatever, or a remove buff. And then he starts building CP back up very fast because turn start he gains 26, and then after moving, which he should be doing, he'll gain 20. So that's 46 CP on turn 1, or on turn 1 after CSing, and then he'll gain another 26 CP, and then he'll be above 70 again. So really, assuming you don't fail the turn start proc, you really only have one dead turn, which is like what? Honestly, the CP controlling his rates things feels a bit. It feels a bit like a half-baked method of trying to control him, because it doesn't actually prevent him from doing anything, and his rates aren't even that bad when his CP's low. So, it's perfectly reasonable to have no downtime in the all range just because it's a 70%. Like, that's not low. That's not that low, and if you really want to, it's easily fishable for if you want to restart. But yeah, he'll pretty much have one turn where he will have to roll for the 70%, and that's it. Actually, his CP can't even fail because he'll have Glint. So yeah, there will only be one downturn. That's the hell. That's silly. But yeah, that's about it then for that.
I just mentioned it because I was trying to use him for farming, and how most farming quests are like 1, 2, 3 turns. That the third turn is just kind of like a weird sort of source of inconsistency for me. So,
because of the 6%, and he uses his charge at turn 2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to use him on support because he benefits from having that middle row position. But yeah.
I mean, there's benefits to having units both behind him as well as slotted up ahead of him. For example, if you don't fully trust his downtime, you could also just bring a dedicated CP battery on hit, who will then proceed to give him a shit ton of CP after he blows his charge. So that since his charge isn't even that strong, so presumably they'll live, and he can still just on hit give CP to him to make him reach back to his range.
All right, yeah, his CP just gives a bunch of his CS gives a bunch of CP as well, so even less chance that he has downtime.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like he's a lot better to trigger those on-hit effects than to try to clear quests, in my opinion, because it's a bit too inconsistent. And the fact that you have to work to get in the work to get that CP for your buffer, it's a bit of an inconvenience. But it is really nice with that entire list of units with unique effects to apply to all the units. And I'm actually surprised you did not mention the 4-star Ara with his three times damage advantage against weakness, and remove all buffs to the entire board behind.
Wait, which AR?
The first row.
No, Eta.
Oh,
Eta 4. Yeah, Eta 4.
I see.
You can actually remove all buffs from the entire board.
I did
Almost
actually think about him.
What?
I did actually think about him. It would be pretty amusing to have him just remove. He wouldn't be able to remove buffs off the first row, but anyone behind will get fucked.
Yeah, this list is
Yeah,
one I
and
prepared,
also-
so I didn't modify it for anything Salga suggested, so. He also what?
What?
I thought I
What?
cut or saying something. He also what? Yeah, I'm just.
Maybe I just.
I'll just take the lead since you've lost your nerve. Yes. Yeah, we didn't even talk about ARs really. I mean, we talked about ARs on him, but like only one really.
Oh.
There's also the
Oh, right.
Tashta Kurugani one, which gives him CP up to 20 per turn. Like any kind of CP source will be good for him to just make it more consistent constantly. In addition, more importantly, you can give ARs of interest to the unit you are all boosting. So, of interest, I'd say there is the Suzuka Gyuma one, which gives evasion, a chance of evasion for every unit hit, and if you're
It's
hitting
the
everyone.
walks.
I keep on saying Yuma for something. Why do I keep on doing that? Am I dumb? I'm just gonna type it down. Alright, anyways. Tetsuox. The Suzuka Tetsuox. I like Tetsuox. I can't believe we keep on doing that. Also, the Kalki Hati AR would help as well for the same reason this CP battery would, because that applies CP to the unit behind for every unit hit. Could bring Oz back to his needed range every time. You may also consider the defense piercing ARs with the Shooting Stars, Bathing Ikutoshi just for evasion, or even the Avarga Arsalan one for piercing all defense buffs that were removable. There's also, of course, the Crafter's Anniversary AR, which Selgus mentioned one specific use case was Bale to immediately apply some buff to like have buff reversal activated. But it's still just a good AR in general, just for the actual guts resistance part. And interestingly, you can apply this to anyone who is like, I guess, a thrust range or a shot range, who is equipping the Batsum Ikutoshi AR or the Gomon Bolus AR for combo, which will be even more ridiculous since you'll be applying effects or rolling for them twice, depending on what kind of effects they are. Yeah, those are all my thoughts on it, anyways.
I'm really glad that Oz had this turnabout because I really like Oz, so this is very satisfying for me.
Yes, I'm sure, after all the years of miming on his regular kit.
Yeah, Oz's regular kit is
No, it's to me
terrible.
in a different way.
Yeah, it's now a good meme, the best meme even. So yeah, we'll probably be mentioning him like every stream now.
Yeah.
I would
For
say...
my opinion about Oz,
Go ahead.
yeah, for my opinion about Oz, I think the only thing that I wish I had was expanded movement on Oz. And I keep thinking that it's like 2x3, like weakness range is 3x3, but it's actually just 2x3, and that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I think the movement expansion was not given to us on purpose, just so he wouldn't be used for farming, but would be used for these memes of applying all these massive debuffs and all that shit instead.
Yeah, I think he's like best. Like if it's vertical, he just goes crazy. But for wide quest, I'm a little suspect. And you can have like the Summer Shiva versus Summer Oz discussion, but yeah, I think the lack of expanded movement kind of makes him a little bit difficult for wide. You know, if you're just chasing damage. I've been using him with Taki Minakata and actually Fashionista Wakan to try to chase some all-range damage. It's kind of interesting. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a small map, he'll like where he can get into range of everyone. He can set up a two-man all range setup instantly. So, he'll definitely just delete those. But I am hoping we get some more all range expansion in the future, I guess.
Yeah. I was thinking that I kind of really regret not getting J-Shiro just because I feel like he might help in like setting up some of the wide quest stuff, but yeah.
He would help a lot, yes. for Oz. J-Shield
Yeah, there's still...
is very important if you're trying to do all board meme clears, one-turn meme clears.
Yeah, I think you have to do like a boogeyman on the other side, but it's kind of weird.
It doesn't guarantee it either. The
Really
boogeyman isn't
Really not
right-
J-Shiro plus boogeyman? Oh.
What?
Is it a proc thing?
No, it's just that if they start on both opposite ends, it's kind of complicated for it to work because you still can't reach the other side on the first turn.
You mean
But
with
J-Shield-
you mean with only Boogeyman, right?
yeah, with only boogeyman, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I meant with like both, but yeah.
Oh, with both, yeah. Oh, with
Yeah.
both you can definitely get there, yeah.
Yeah. I think J-Shiro also just works because he has Vigor, not counting that limit, but yeah. Vigor and Weakness has good synergy with Oz's Ardor.
Limit does not exist on J-Shiro.
The
Yeah.
limit does not exist. I do think I'll just throw this in, not really as a point of interest, but rather as a reading at my horoscope thing. My favorite pair would probably just be Masanori with Jurong, because like Masanori's only gonna be useful for one turn anyways, and then you can just constantly keep those possession doubts up for indefinitely with Jurong. And Jurong's problem has always been like, getting his all range up immediately, but otherwise he functions identically. Well, maybe not guaranteed rates, but otherwise identically between his like regular attack and his charge attack, which is why I think he's a special pairing case for Oz. Alright, if that's...
Awkward silence.
You guys have nothing to
That's
say?
okay.
Really? Alright, fine. Jeez.
I already said a lot. My throat's dry.
Oh,
Be prepared as a
if
bubble
you
up
mean
next time.
for
Jeez.
me,
Yeah.
I think I kind of see potential in the Amatsumara strategy. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I was just pushing away repeatedly.
They're only relevant because, like,
I
Life Wonders has been very stingy when it comes to doing blow range, or not blow range, like pushing back setups. They already gave us fucking, Behemoth and Z's and now Boogeyman who pulls every turn, but no, we don't really have anyone who pushes every turn except for Kurugane if you move every turn, and not even everyone. So pushing is kind of, I guess that's Life Wonder's confirmation that pushing is a bit too cheesy as a result, just being forever out of range from the enemy.
actually convenient that I attack seeded my Amatsumara during the seed dungeon.
Wait, you randomly seeded Amatsumara? Wow. I'm kinda surprised.
Yes. Only attack seeded. Because I didn't have another target for attack seeds anymore. It's over. It was over by then.
Oh, there's lots. But anyway, I think you get the idea. The list can go on. We can just keep on having specific case discussions with Oz, but it's up to you with your creativity now, chat, for you to figure out how you want to play with Oz. With that said, I think we're done with all our points, so go ahead and read the comments, Salgus.
Okay. Let me scroll up. There it is. It's him, Mr. MVP Simp. Yes, I agree. Oz is very good. And Zoe is better. Oh, he doesn't have expanded movement. Well, he does have weapon changeable. Yeah, I know. But, I don't know, maybe they learnt the lesson after Lianan that expanded movement is too strong. Well, they're about too strong, but... Rip, I didn't get Oz. Honestly, regardless of whatever his viability ends up being, he's fun to use, and I hope someone of my friends decides to keep him there after the event. Yeah, he wouldn't mind being the support unit, honestly, so... I guess if you don't pull him, you can copium use a support. Although I find having to spend the support slot on Oz means that, you'll have that much harder time trying to find, say, like a 5-star you're missing, or maybe if you're doing some strat with duplicate 5 stars, then you wouldn't be able to do that anymore. But yeah, if you don't get him, that is a shame. Also, I suggested Kengo 3 mostly because he's a self-buffing blow unit, so not only does he get massive boost, he can also get the FRK AR to bypass the most defensive T-buffs. Yeah, yes, I guess that is choice. he gets crit and infinitude, but I don't know if there's probably other blow units who can do more damage. Maybe. Don't actually try and qualify that. I haven't bothered checking. I'm really glad Oz is good. He is one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm glad. Oz is one of my favorites. So I hated how terrible his base kit was. So this is very good, very cathartic. Damage potential aside, he's very good for on attack units. His damage potential. It's a lot harder to get his damage potential going.
Honestly, Life Wonders was extremely generous at all to include Ardor and Weakness. Like he wouldn't even.
Yeah.
Like Life Wonders could have not included either of those, and he still would have been a very good unit.
Yeah. He can really only reach his full damage potential easily in a small map. This is better than his normal. Oh yeah, like not even close. Also, he's a fluffy lion. The Oz glow up is real. I'm so happy because he is genuinely one of my faves, especially after the first few episodes in this event. Nice. Yeah, this is a game-breaking unit, alright. Glad I was able to pull him. Wait, 5-star Bale? Yes, 5-star Bale. I don't remember if... I think 3-star Bale also applies oppression and weakness and buff reversal, but I don't know if his rates are worse.
I completely forgot he applied oppression.
Well, I haven't because I actually use him, but yeah, Bale 3-star would work as well. But assuming the rates are better for 5-star Bale, then go for him, I guess. I see Sol on that list. You can't hide it. Yeah, Sol, much like Turing, would be able to just completely deny all buffs, defensive buffs. Yeah, I'm definitely sad I don't have him now. He enables so many things. Hey, yo, I'm Bale. What? The one that a lot of people want. Lamau, that list, you guys are more ready than I expected. Well, Arrow was more expected. He made this ahead of time. That I actually like perused it a bit for my own notes, but not. Like, you know, I got some options that weren't on here. Finally, my F-Pokan can be good again. Can he? I mean, I guess he does decent damage, but...
That was Milk's opinion, I believe.
So, yeah, like... I can one turn clear the Blossom quest with F-Pokan at Oz. So that's kind of fun.
Is your F-Pokan seeded and leveled?
Oh, it's max blossomed.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not for me then. Because since everyone will be all range multiplier, their base attack does matter a lot if you're trying to.
It's a shit clear because it's super RNG. And I have to like substitute.
What matters is
like,
you can do it and make a video on it.
Yeah, I had to like substitute like Yoritomo or Fushi with Smoky God's Anchor Strike thing, which is like so fucking stupid. But yeah,
that is
pretty terrible. Just did a YOLO pull and got him. Nice. Congrats. Oz is actually insane rule maker's privilege. I think he's the only rule maker we have so far.
Horus?
So...
Heartbreaker?
Oh, right. Never mind.
You got plenty.
Sorry, I forgot. Ozzy is good. Glad I pulled him. I need to figure out a team for him. Well, you might be planning for a while because the possibilities are literally endless. All Sims are eating good. I'm glad this game doesn't have PvP. That would be terrible. I mean, a game like this always benefits the aggressor, so whoever gets first turn will, you know, immediately have the advantage. PvP, Housamo will have set rules and it'll probably never exist, don't worry. If it ever did have the PvP, I would assume it would be you fight an AI version of the enemy team, like a lot of games do. But I hope not. That sounds like it would suck. I enjoy Housamo as a casual sort of experience, and not, you know, sweaty, I must get number 1 in arena or stay in this tier or whatever. Are we getting second summer banner after this? Because if we're not, I might just keep trying for him. I don't care about reruns. apparently there have been hints that there will be another summer event after this, but I don't think anyone knows if it's immediately after this. I would assume it's going to be a rerun first and then a summer banner, but apparently there will be.
I would jump in and just say that Life Wonders has a trend of just doing like a full human banner to like bait furries for like the one furry. In this case it's Oz, but Oz is super good, so yeah, you can go for it. But if you're like really into like furry or chub characters, maybe the next event might appeal to you more, because they tend to like do that trend.
It was foolish of them to give Oz the 4-star status, but I'm not complaining. Same with Leonard. Ex-Nomad, Smoky, variant, Oz, Pog. Which Smoky God? The vanilla. I don't know about Ex-Nomad, because Nomad has to move to... Who just left?
Probably Irby, maybe? Yeah, he left without saying anything. Well, that was expected.
No, well, whatever. Yeah, Nomad has to move to give his things. Oh, the time has come. Nomad has to move to give any of his buffs, so I don't think he would work out very well with Oz. Spoilers, but yes, some have heard that it'll come around next year. This year. Yeah, so we might be getting another banner after this. I think there is a crit plus AR. Yes, there is a crit plus AR. It is the 5-star AR featuring Pollux and Bathim, I believe. And it gives crit plus at a okay rate. Was it turnstile? Yeah, alright, it'd be low HP. Damn, this blows. I don't want to wait for Oz's rerun, but I don't want to potentially miss out on someone I like. Just wail. No, don't do that.
Just do what I did. Get him on your first roll. On stream.
Yeah, your literal first pull. I had to spend 400 stones.
Wink.
Oz Skill Evo 2023, where he gets expanded movement and crit still. Yeah, that will actually break the game, because there will be no other reason for you to like. I mean, you could probably still make a case for CS or range stress, because their damage ceiling is just so much higher, but still, crit and movement expansion will make it oh so much easier. Housamo Anniversary will reprint banners from new events. Yes, this banner will reprint, like guaranteed. Why is it buffering for me? Do you see what I mean?
I do see some dropped frames.
Oh no.
Okay, we're better now. Yeah. Momentarily
okay,
dropping
good.
the internet, I guess.
He
Okay.
feels weaker on wide quests. Also because you can't sandwich him between two units. Yeah, on wide quests it's very hard to sandwich him between two units. You would need like J Shiro and Boogeyman, like Irby and Milk were discussing. There's no limit when using J Shiro. Yeah, but you have to have J Shiro then. Alright, let's think that's probably rerun banners. Alp Charm memes. Yes, I guess you could pair Alp with
No.
Oz.
The problem with Alp was
Yeah,
even
he
when he
already-
did get his own range, his rates were shit. What?
Yeah, Alp wants Smoky God. The other every stream mention. Oz broke your brains. Oh my god, he's got Echo synergy now. Well, it would mean that you wouldn't have to have Echo get hit, which is genuinely an advantage, because Echo's stuff, weakness and fear, are actually pretty devastating to get hit by. So Echo always had this problem where she had to get hit first, and she had no problem surviving, but doing it turn 1 is fine too.
Just like mention people that don't already have all range, like just choose like a meme unit like Taro Mighty, like 4-star.
I did think about Taro Mighty. Is the stream still dropped? Well, I see the stream just fine.
Okay, good.
But
That was just a late response.
but yes, I did think about someone like Taro Mighty. When it comes to remove buffs, Paramighty can remove 3 buffs at once, but she must pass a 40% proc rate. So, I mean, that could be good, but if you get it, but you're better off just going for someone who actually removes buffs at a decent rate, like,
Turing.
I guess Tad, Turing. There's Beach Seth as well, and Beach Seth can also nullify debuff too. So, there's plenty of choices. Of course, there's my F4 Oh wait, I missed one. Bale 3 does, yes, but his rates are worse at 70%. Yes, that's why I remember. Of course, there's my F4 PvP sounds awful. This game is not balanced for PvP. I don't think this game is balanced in general, but yes, Oz over Zoe. Disagree. By Obi, we can hear the Discord notifications. Obi is dead.
Yeah,
PvP
my
host will probably...
sound capture is not exactly amazing. It captures my entire desktop audio. So you may have heard some like Windows glitch sounds occasionally, and I've been trying to avoid that. But the one time I tried to separate the sound sources, you got that one stream where we all ended up sounding robotic except for me, which was the worst ever out. I'm never trying that again for a long time. So just gotta deal.
I mean, you do test streams a bunch, but yeah, I find for some reason I find sound separation difficult. Like I can't get it. Like it's always just record all desktop or none.
Yeah.
PvP host will probably have a coin flip for whoever gets the priority turn. Yes, like Yu-Gi-Oh, but unlike Yu-Gi-Oh or any trading card game, this game would have no restrictions on turn 1, so it's not like you can just immediately devastate the enemy. Like, I mean, just the fact that you could pair Oz with anyone who can disable the enemies would mean that anyone who has Oz would win, and goes first would win, because what do you do when you instantly get, like, globally double locked or globally feared and binded or something ridiculous thing like that?
You use Lab, obviously.
I did have that in the back of my mind, but no.
Okay.
Money with wings emoji. Is there any damage chart comparison to units after Oz or ranges them? There are a lot of good attackers, but I'm not sure who deal the most. You could use Ara's stat chart. That does have damage per square, which is probably the stat that you're looking for. But
link in the description.
But yes, from my notes, the ones that I chose, Valentine's Balor, Summer River, Taiji Corral, and Otohime 4, those are some of the units who deal the highest damage.
Honestly, there's so much I feel like we just might not find the true optimal source for a while. Like, it's easy to overlook some cases.
You just have to try for you just have to try for yourself. You could like suggest something and then somebody will say, okay, I have like a fully blossomed Takemita 5. Just gotta, like, use it.
Yeah, there's any number of variables, like, because you're not just considering that unit either, because you still have 2 units to support the attacker, and Oz, well, just the attacker. So, if you have Yoritomo, it'll change who you want, because you will probably want to avoid buff overlap with Oz and Yoritomo. So, you'll just have to see, but the stat chart might be able to give you a good idea of who to look at first, at least.
Also, you actually have to take into account CP generation. Like, you can recommend like Fool and Batar, but this CP generation is very high, so you have to deal with this CS. So,
again, unless you have the Oz, the leaked Furufumi AR, in which case that completely solves that issue. So I'm glad I have that one.
This is why I like Jurong a lot in combination, because, I mean, yes, it's like you could just have 2 sets of effects, but to maintain them indefinitely is something Jurong can do either on charge or on regular attack, and you only need to hit once every turn with the other unit who's applying the effects, right? So that's why I'm very attracted to that idea.
Why am I seeing most people recommend Oz with Enigma? Because Enigma applies darkness and obstruct. Well, it's mostly darkness. Obstruct is whatever, but darkness is a pretty decent ailment, lasting for 3 turns, damage down CS lock. But he's not even the best at doing it. Tezcatli Poker and Zhurong both do it better than him, so if you're gonna bring Enigma, just bring one of those two instead. Probably Zhurong, because he'll benefit more than Tezcatli Poker. Yes, the stream dropped. Is it still dropped? It's saying it's still again. It's okay for me. We only hear notification sounds. No worries.
No!
Damn.
It's the worst. I try my best to avoid them, but can't be helped.
Back again. Hello, Gail. Host mode PvP but with bans, so I can pretend Shiva doesn't exist. The amount of bans this game would need to have to remove, like, cheesy outliers is unbelievable. So, yeah, that won't happen. Let me just mention he can equip Leaked Furu AR CS Lock Temujin, and you can have him attack in all range with both crits Lamau. Oh yeah, that is one I didn't think of. Also, Astaroth doesn't have to wait for, or it would be Astarte, yeah, doesn't have to wait for her CS.
By the way, I did try the Leaked Furu AR with Temujin. I do like that AD a lot. It's just that Temujin is actually pretty squishy, even if he's getting tenacity and healing from Tangaroa. Which is who I pair him with, generally, but...
I mean, who cares about that? It's all about the damage.
True. I would also say Temujin, in that case, if you're denying his charge, would also be good with Alf, because they have two different crits that don't stack.
How much damage would he even do with both buffs, anyway?
It's pretty
I guess
good,
it would
but
be like
you still
about,
need other buffs, honestly.
I think, just from a preliminary look, it looks like about 8.8k on his own with...
Okay, let's...
no, I'm missing...
Let's save the calculations for after.
It would actually be about 16, or, yeah, 16k. Something like that. Right, I guess it would be greater than that, but... Yeah, that could be a choice. Oh, I forgot. Smoky God's Anchor Strengthening is another addition to Enigma's non-restricted attack buffs.
I pretend
Yes, I guess. So one day Enigma will get enough non-restricted attack buffs. I can't state how happy I feel that Summer Oz is actually good. Yeah, it's like I said, it's really great. It's definitely one of the biggest comebacks, and like not just good, just like the best, and with no peers in his niche, because I doubt they'll ever add this niche again, or if they do, it will probably not be so accessible. Oh my god, Astarte, Summer Shenong, Oz sounds so stupid. Yeah, Summer Shenong, or Astarte can already get, like, massive buffs if Shenong CS's, although, to be fair, Shenong will probably wipe the board like that anyway, but yeah, that just lets Astarte go crazy with Shenong's poison stacking. Summer Oz and Masanori's turn 1 is already stupid funny. Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't tried it yet, but just the ability to disable the entire enemy team for one turn. Oz, Leonan, and let her take care of everything meme. Yes, Leonan.
I think we've had enough comments for today. Let's just go and close that down the stream now.
Shut it down.
Yes, we are going to shut this building down. So, unfortunately, Irby died in the middle of the stream. We will have to pay our condolences at some later date that we'll have to decide later. But for now, we can close off the stream. So, what are your thoughts on this event, Milk and Zalgus, as well as the banner and everything else that comes with it?
It's been 1 million years, or whatever the Pokemon meme was, since an event.
I think it's 3,000 years or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's 3,000.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 4,000? I don't know. Yeah. Way overdue event.
Half a year, Jesus
I think
Christ.
Oz is pretty much the most... Yeah. Oz is pretty much the must pull for this event. The 5 stars are good to okay. Okay being Heracles. And good being Yorm. Everybody else is just whatever. But I still maintain my opinion that this is like the human bait banner before the furry bait banner. So, yeah.
I can't disagree, since most of the 5 stars are the most generic of Bara humans you can get. With, like, Bomb, Cretan, Ray, 3, and then, like, Heracles, which Has no discernible features, but is probably still gonna be popular just because Bara human.
He looks like a nerd in his sailor outfit.
Yeah, he actually does.
Oh. I actually like the sailor outfit more. Just like of the weird looking anatomy. And
Well, I mean, I agree, but I still think he looks like a nerd.
Oh yeah, he definitely looks like a nerd. But yeah, I want to say that he looks better a nerd than his regular. I actually was really looking forward to the music of this event because of the teaser, but the battle music is just very okay. Like, it sounds better with headphones, but I was kind of disappointed. I heard it the first time.
I think that was Zelda's.
Yeah, I think I think the battle theme is okay, but it's definitely no virtual summer memory or anything, so it's not really amazing for me. I don't hate it, but I also don't like super like it.
I think I just like the shop theme.
Art-wise,
Sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, the shop theme is really good.
Yeah.
Art-wise, I think that Oz probably has the best art.
Yeah,
Smoky
there's
God actually
really
has a very-
lovely colors in that very purple. Actually, the entire banner has done like a bang-up job, just because of the theme of neon vaporwave.
Except Heracles.
Except Heracles, yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Heracles has like the nosebleed worst art. I was putting like everybody into the wiki, and I saw Heracles' art, and I was like, "Is he 4-star?" And I was like, because I was like putting in Oz and stuff, and it was like Oz looks good, Yama looks good. It's like it's kind of boring, but he looks good. Smoky God has this like really unique dynamic pose, and then like Heracles comes out looking like that. I was like, what happened here?
it took like a long time for a lot of us to realize he was on a water slide. Just seemed like he was doing a random pose with a water gun.
Yeah, I was really confused at what it was until I took a closer look later.
Yeah, it looked like the Summer Tajikirao, but worse. Like more poorly executed.
Yeah, I feel like there's like no lighting. Like
Yeah,
Lighting, I mean, yeah.
in all the other images, like especially like Oz, like the lighting is very, vibrant, looks very nice, and then Heracles, it's as if there's no light source, or rather, the light source is boring.
Yeah,
IRB.
Oz's colors was over the top. Oh, wow, you're back. That was fast. Yeah, we're just giving closing thoughts. Do you have any thoughts on the music or the art, which is what we talked about so far?
Very hot. I don't know.
Irby has bought the human.
I don't really care much. I'm not really care much for the music this time around. I feel like it's a bit lacking in comparison to other events.
Yeah, I like the shop theme, but the battle theme's whatever.
When I heard the battle theme, I was like, "Is this Sonic?" But yeah.
They're kind of lackluster this time around. And honestly, even though I said hot, I mostly referred that to Jormungandr and Yama,
I figured
because everyone else is kind of.
I mean, even if you don't like Phrase, you gotta admit, Oz's lighting is like way over the top in terms of hyper neon. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
At least it's not Heracles or not.
The man is not impressed.
I was talking in. I was talking. I literally used the adjective hot. I did not use the adjective. Yeah, it looks like pretty. It looks pretty. Like,
Okay. It's just unusual lighting. from
The
what we
arts all look. The arts all look pretty, except for Heracles. Heracles does not look hot.
We
or
said
pretty.
that before you came here, and it's amazing you said the exact same thing.
Yeah, it is. It's just bad. Sorry.
Oh man, I feel so bad for the artist if he hears this.
He's so scary. Put a sailor outfit on so he covers up those feet, please.
Yeah, but even with the sailor outfit, he still looks ridiculous. So it's unsalvageable, unfortunately.
Yeah. I like Oz's art, but honestly, if you saw my string pulls, I actually wasn't super interested just on anyone based on the art. And the only reason I wasn't hyper excited for Oz when I got him was just because at the time I didn't remember what his kit was. But other than that, yeah, I wouldn't have pulled 2 art for this banner otherwise, either way. And lo and behold, I got some of the most banging units. Like, even though Oz has one of you have said earlier, is like the feature in this 1 unit banner. Like Smoky God's pretty alright too. Happy to get him too.
I like Smoky God, but it's for memes. I like his meme pose.
I like memes. It doesn't matter if it's not just another all-range blow-up unit. Like that's Oz with everyone nowadays, so who cares? It's just like I like
God
memes.
is always a meme. His pose is a meme. His kits are always a meme. I love Smoky God for being a meme.
Anyone
I don't know. It's kind of it's this meme factor kind of like dipped a bit in this OG form, but yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
But I did bring him to the Ikebukuro dungeon, and it did feel very memey to see the enemies all being pushed down and then pushed all back up again.
I mean, what's it called? Akia was able to do that, but he can do that in long slash versus Akia's like.
You can only do it. You can only do it on 3x3. You can't do the entire board.
So there's some limitations to us, but yeah.
I was actually confused the first time I saw his push because I forgot about it, and there was only one enemy left, so I just saw them move up and back down, and I was like, what did they just do? And then I remembered later that Smoky God just pushed them up and they moved back down immediately, and it looked weird.
Yeah, well, I played with Akia, so I saw it a while ago, but yeah.
Bro.
Other than thoughts about this banner, we also received a new user interface update. I think the special effects are pretty neat, but unfortunately on the older phone that I'm playing it, at least on stream, with, it seems that the frame rate isn't quite as high as it could be, and as a result, everything seems super fast between the animations and the sparkle animations. But other than that, I'm glad they updated the sparkness.
I really don't care about that, but I did like the fact that the borders for the units actually glow now and change color or something like that.
Yeah,
because
it makes it feel really, like actual metallic special things rather than just this cheap paint job.
Yeah, we already kind of had that for ARs. Sure, it didn't change, but they had different borders and it was more noticeable on the AR pulls, but it's nice to finally have them on the transients. Other than that, I don't really care for the new animation. I think the volume is too low.
That's what I thought too.
Because I keep hearing the background music.
Yeah, with you mean the summon sound effects, right? I thought it was just like, I heard a metal chunk in the background. Was that it? You know? So
yeah, I can barely hear anything.
They could definitely adjust that.
I really wish the font had a background. Please, it's hard to read some of the font.
Yeah.
I don't really care about animations. It's just like it looks nice. It's just that like I feel worse because I get shit. It's just like I think I got need.
Have you guys done an AR pull yet, by the way? Have you ever seen the animation?
Yeah, it does the PowerPoint spinning animation. Right?
Don't describe it like that. I thought it was cool, and now I think it's dorky.
I think it's terrible because I actually did spend my tickets there, see if I could get my 0.00001% as Svarga AR.
Oh my gosh. And you got him right?
And I was like looking and seeing all the special effects, and oh my god, is this a 4-star or 5-star? No, it was always a 3-star. They were all 3-star.
Yeah, spin to get a stupid AR again. I think I tried it out and got the Nyarl Azathoth AR. I was like, okay, this is bad.
Oh, my pop star. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
That AR? Oh, you mean the animation? Yeah, it's pretty flashy, unless you think of it as a Photoshop animation. Please don't think of it as that. It's cooler than that. Okay, and last thing to discuss, I suppose, will be the new attributes, which I personally think are pretty cool, and at least based on, you know, where Yorm's story is, or place in the story is, I think they might have some significant role in the story as well, so I'm excited for where they take it. Gameplay-wise, obviously it's still too early to tell, but I think when they progressively released Valiant and World, they handled that fairly well. It was like this real restrictive thing, but eventually they just became ubiquitous, so something to look forward to in the future.
I said I dislike them, but I actually don't really dislike them. I'm just neutral because they don't affect the main elements. I'm kind of like fine with that because I don't have to spend extra brain power like remembering like element advantages. I think it took me like forever to remember how Valiant and World like
Yeah,
interacted
it's
with
not exactly a
main
natural kind
five.
of thing to be making a tripart relation from. I will say this one thing though, is
Yeah.
even though it's like this whole new 3-based relationship to think about it more in terms of there's still going to be relatively few, no matter how much it releases for the time being. So, in the larger sense, we're just going to get a whole bunch of units that have the same kind of interactions as all around, and that is to say, are neutral to pretty much like 90% of the other units. So that's pretty cool. Finally, you can turn off the
nice
brain
that we
more.
get more of those.
Yeah.
I think
I'm not sure how much I'm gonna like that, especially considering on chapter 13 we already have infinity enemies, but we'll see.
I think it's I kind of almost wish that they added Zero and Infinity to the friends list, because then you would click on it and then you would see just an entire list of Yorms and Gorozaemons, and I think that would be funny.
It's
But
already kind of
they
what happened
probably
with All
won't
Around
add
and Sheena when he released.
Yeah, that basically did happen. MCs only.
But the
What
animation
about
is,
the Christine? That was us?
I guess, I don't know. Christine's relevant, but everyone has Christine, so it doesn't matter.
Yes. Have you guys noticed this bug on the shop, where when the first time you see Jormungandr, he appears with no clothes and then he suddenly has clothes like
Yeah,
a few
that's
frames later.
that's a great feature.
Oh yeah. We also haven't talked about the white square bug, have we?
Oh yeah, that's everywhere. But I haven't seen it at all today. But yeah, it's
They updated the
I
game,
think
so
so.
yeah.
It gets fixed. But
Yeah.
for me, I never had the issue outside the loading screens not showing the comic thingies.
Oh
and
really?
Instead of show white square. Yeah. I never got anything else white squared anywhere. Like
I'm kind of
people were
annoyed
posting
that-
something.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't get Apologems. At least I don't think we did.
No,
It's
I
just
think they said they're
updated.
still doing maintenance or something. Like, they did some fix, but then I don't think the Twitter announcement was even decisive of it being a full fix. So maybe they're waiting for like a true definitive full fix before they give something like that. Hopefully.
Yeah, well,
Hoping.
Jormungandr is still bugged. I just tested it. He did in fact appear with no clothes and then
Oh.
suddenly had clothes on.
Oh yeah, that's still there. But the white square thing I think is fixed.
Yeah, I haven't seen those.
Yuji just
The chat is agreeing. It's an amazing feature.
Yeah, I think it's funny.
funny and
Also,
Right.
I think they should fix the bugs with especially the bug on Jormungandr's CS, because that is a big L.
send a
Needs
report so
to
we can get some
suck
gems
in.
for it. Like, it's literally right there in the Housamo.info description. So it's just a mistake at that point. Anywho,
They don't believe me.
just give it a try, jeez. Like, they fucking fixed the blossoms, maybe they'll fix this. Anyway, I think we have rambled on long enough for this. I'll just go ahead and read the comments if I can remember where we last left off. Probably. Thanks for the stream, guys. Yeah, always happy to do it, Prisoner. Wait. This was. Sorry. This was really a 1 unit banner. Thanks for everything. 3,000 years is the meme. It's been 84 years. That is probably not how the meme goes. Bye guys. It's been a year, daddy. Bye. Thanks for everything. Everyone's really eager to get out of here, I suppose. What a cute dork Heracles is. He's a buff nerdy dork. I like the music. Thank you, Prisma. Despite me not having a strong reaction to the attack thing, I'm not gonna like shit on it. I would say it's pretty, like, actually one of the better kind of host of music we receive. Because like not all of them are bangers. I feel like half the shop themes suck. Also, but the shop team was pretty good, and the battle team was pretty decent too. Also, if judging by their Valentine's quest, Oz and Zoe may have Makan-isms if you catch my drift. Vor? I don't know.
Zoe says a lot about biting you.
Oh, I think that's just playing on nibbling kink or some shit like that. Music is okay. Wow. I think so only means it in a suggestive way. Yeah, probably. The important thing is that the bulges... That the bulges what? Okay, sure. Oz got the best lighting. Yeah, for sure. Very gorgeous, the neon kind of tints. I like the seaside breeze in fairness. Sweat's an untranslated concern. You're probably right. Oz is easily the cutest on the banner, with Yorm and Yamasachihiko being a tie for hot. Yeah, I kind of dislike Yama just on principle of how plain he is, but that's another conversation for another day. What Heracles art has bulge? It's okay. I think I noticed the art. It was okay. Oh, also Fushi Perun, Wolf, and Meph got swimsuits. Yeah, a bunch of them did. I was surprised that some of the units I was bringing, like, I could even bring it all as boosters, but I suppose a lot of other units got some swimsuits. Mephistopheles has hooves, and Fushi is buff. Fushi looks stellar, Perun is leaving a little to the imagination, and Mephistopheles needs to take those sandals off. Maybe I'll look over them if I actually care about them one day. I mean, new skins are nice. Fushi and Oz showing off their abs finally. Oh, welcome back, Herbs. Yes, welcome back, Irby. Fushi got that fashion model foot. Very suckable. They're just prettier all around. Yes. Amazing feature. Jormungandr cannon. Okay, good. I'm glad that white square issue was just not me. White square, new enemy unit. When attacking, apply crash game at base start. For the most, I got away with game crashes. The only time it really crashed was on stream, because of course. They will get it fixed. They have a partial fix so far. We'll see if it's like lasting or not. White after white summon or summon whites. But Yama is voiced by James from Pokemon. Oh, well. I don't think I've ever heard of Japanese James before, or if I did, it doesn't really stick in my mind. Anyway, those are all the comments. That is all she wrote again. Thank you for joining us in this stream, everyone. We will be present again for another discussion, most likely, for whenever the next event comes out. But until then, you guys will just have to hold on out for this event. It's pretty fun if you can get past white squares. And happy Ozblings, I suppose. Alright, on 3, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Bye. Longest fucking bye. Alright, see you guys. Bye.